12 continues tonight with our introduction to the Demacia division. Two of its strongest teams will be facing off later in another fiery fight for first. The currently undefeated Shattered Spire had their bye last week and will be looking for wins at number 5 and 6 in this match to solidify their position towards the top of the group. Meanwhile, AK Hearts are hot on their heels, only one singular point behind Shattered Spire in the Demacian standings. The Hearts are coming off a 2-1 victory last week over Niner Esports and would take the lead over SS with a win tonight. In the meantime, we do have for your entertainment our third weekly episode of Emerald Otter Talk. I am your host, Crewman44. We, of course, have some amazing guests joining us for the show once again. We have already arrived at the halfway point of the round robin. After tonight, every team in the league will have played at least half of their matches in the group stage. Let's have you all introduce yourselves. Please give us your IGN, what team you're playing for, and just a brief self-assessment of where your respective teams are at right now relative to your preseason expectations as we reach the halfway point here. Zooey, I would like to come to you first.
Hey guys, I'm Zooey, the mid laner for Syndicate Crashouts in the Noxus group. I think we're off to a pretty good start. Our loss to XG was kind of unfortunate. I think they're also like the other top team in the group, so I'm not like too concerned. But other than that, I think we're doing pretty well.
To agree. Solo Mason?
Yeah, I'm Solo Mason. I play AD carry for Fools 5, and we're in the Demacia group. I think we've been struggling here a bit, and we got some roster changes on the horizon, so we'll see how they go, and we're just improving and trying to hopefully make playoffs.
Interesting. Are those roster changes going to be in effect for tonight's match?
That is correct.
Okay, excited to hear more about that a little bit later. But first, before we get there, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Witcher Matt. I play jungle for the Shattered Spire. I think we, in general, as a team, have been growing, and we're trying our best to win as much as we can, essentially.
An admirable goal, I think. That makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead, guys. We do have a lot to discuss here. Let's go ahead and move straight into those power rankings if we do have those available. So it looks like we are taking a look at the Freljord division here first. To start us off, I'll start with my own ranking. So we do have Tilt Esports have been looking really, really strong lately. I do have them up in first, just like all you guys. This is a little bit of an interesting one for me. I do have Mint actually ranked very highly up here in second. So that is, I'm the only one with Mint ranked that highly, but I just really value being able to pick up convincing wins over teams that you're better than, and they have been able to do that recently. Picking up a couple of 2-0s over some of the weaker teams in the group. Then I do have Elysium on ice in third. I have TTM in fourth. I think all three of those teams, second to fourth, are really, really close, honestly, in skill level and power level. And then I do have the Clowns in fifth, just on the outside of playoffs there. The Thunder Raptors in sixth. And, of course, the Hydro Pump Zebras down there in last, unfortunately. So, Zooey, over to you. Your rankings, please.
Yeah, sure. So I have Tilt at the top. I mean, can't really go wrong with them. They won last split, so I think that's pretty clear cut, and they've been playing super well as a team so far. I've played against them a couple times in scrims. These guys are the goats. Elysium, I put at 2. I love the Elysium fam. I was a part of Elysium. I know all the players. They're great. They're sleeper. They can definitely make a good push if they get locked in right before playoffs. I put TTM at 3. I don't really know any of these players, so I just kind of went off the games that they played so far. It looks like they're doing pretty well, so I'm really excited for the Elysium TTM match that's tonight. That's gonna be a banger.
Oh, yeah.
Mint at 4, kind of obvious. I mean, they're like middle of the pack in this group, I think. And then 5 through 7, I just kind of flipped the coin because they're all interchangeable. I don't really think that the 5th through 7th slots really change too much.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just noticing that all you guys actually have identical rankings here for the Freljord division. So
Wait, do we really?
Yeah,
That's
you're
funny.
all very
That's actually really
aligned
funny.
in terms of what you're expecting to come out from this group. But it's interesting also because we had Taunty, the top laner for TTM, was actually on our first episode of Otter Talk. I don't know if you guys were able to catch that one, but he actually predicted that his team would finish second here in Freljord behind Tilt. So, we don't necessarily have that same level of faith. All you guys are predicting Elysium to be a little bit stronger than TTM, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I guess Solo Mason, let's get your thoughts on that. I won't have you list, the exact same rankings that Zooey has here, but what are your thoughts specifically on TTM, your position for them that you have in the rankings there, and why you think Elysium might just be a little bit stronger?
So I'm fairly new to just BOL in general, so I actually don't know a lot of these teams or players, but as far as Elysium is concerned, I've played against them and I'm kind of familiar with their org. So to be 100% honest with you, I think the first through third spots could be pretty interchangeable. Tilt has looked pretty strong from what I've been able to tell, so I always put them ahead, but I think TTM is definitely a team to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is going to be a really close race for those top spots here in Freljord. But which can we call you Witch? Do you prefer?
Yeah. No, which is good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'd like to get you to sort of respond to my positioning of Mint there. I have Mint up in the second place spot. You guys all have them in fourth. Do you have any thoughts on Mint specifically, and why you think I might be mistaken in my estimation of them?
In general, I think that just the top three that we have in general, I think it's kind of hard to move them around. That's just my personal opinion on it. I think TTM is also slightly sleeper. I think they're going to be up there between fighting for the top spot in this. Tilt has looked really, really good though too. So I think that's the reason why we have it set that way.
Do you feel strongly that there's a pretty clear separation actually between Mint and those top three teams?
I think so. I think that I've played against Elysium quite a bit too, and they're really, really stable. And then Tilt, as you guys said, was I actually didn't know that they were the returning, but they obviously have some synergy built there. So, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, tonight's matchup for Mint is going to be against Tilt, so that is going to be really interesting to see as well if they can put up any kind of fight there against the team that we all expect to kind of top the group. I think that might change some of your guys' minds, but we'll just have to see if Mint is going to be able to do it. Let's move on to our next division. Production, what do you have for us here? Ionia, I guess, is up next. So starting with my own rankings once again here, I do have the Literal Monkeys Reformed up there in first. They have been looking really, really strong. I do have Optimal Esports in second, despite the fact that they've taken a couple of losses over the past 2 weeks. They lost out to both the Gremlins and the Reformed Monkeys, as we saw on the stream last week. So, a lot of people, and, I see all you guys all have them just a little bit lower in your power rankings, but I do still have some faith that Optimal Esports is a very strong team, and they should be able to bounce back and maybe even get that second place spot. I do have the Gremlins then in third. I'm really excited to follow them. They've been looking really strong and competitive here in the Emerald League. I have the Feverish Monkeys in fourth, Dorado down there in fifth, and then the Whoopers and the Shadow Cows rounding us out down there. Both of those teams have been struggling a good bit so far this season. Let's come to you first this time, Witch, over there on the end. Give us just a quick rundown of your rankings.
Which DC from the call? You might have to jog him back in.
Oh, gotcha. In that case, Solo Mason, you're up.
Sorry. I actually can't see any of the rankings that I have. Is there...
Oh, are you watching the stream that our producer has up in the call?
Oh, there
right
we
now?
go. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There.
So, obviously, first is Monkeys Reformed. I know a lot of these players, especially Espada. Played on 2 splits with him in Titan Conqueror. I think he's a very solid player. As far as the next goes, I put Dorado second. I don't know a lot of players on Dorado other than Cyclone, and I've played against him. I've lanes against him, and he's a pretty solid player. OEE, I'm actually kind of surprised that they've been struggling a bit because, All Gucci, Sean, and Envy, and even Yeetloaf, they're all like very solid players. The other Monkey team, I think they could, push for, top 3 in the group, but I really think the Dorado, OE, and the other Monkey team are just better. As far as the 5 through 7, I don't really have too many opinions on these guys. I don't really know them too very well, but yeah, I think Reformed is probably by far the best team in the group.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Reformed is pretty clearly the favorite to top this group. But welcome back, Witch. Let's move over to you for now, Zooey, as both Solo Mason and Witch over here have Dorado ranked very highly, but you're a little bit more aligned with my feelings. You have them down in 5th as well. So, kind of, what are your thoughts in regards to that Dorado squad? Why do you think, Solo Mason and Witch here might be overestimating them a little bit?
So I actually played against this Dorado squad, like this exact squad, like player for player, I'm pretty sure, in Aegis. They were in my group over there. I feel like this roster is the Cyclone Polar show. If those two don't get ahead, it's a really hard time for Epsilon to play the game. And I think in this group, where there's so many strong bot lanes and strong mid laners, it's just hard for them to get their foot in on how they want to win.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Witch, I want to give you the opportunity to respond there. Your feelings about Dorado or any other teams that you really wanted to mention here in the Ionia division?
I definitely think that both Monkey teams are just really, really good. And then I think I've played against a fair amount of the Dorado squad too. I haven't played against a specific team altogether, but I've played with a few of them or against a few of them. And I just think that the sum of their pieces will like add up to them being second in the group. So
we'll just have to see if the rest of the team is going to be able to kind of rally around those carries and if they're really going to be able to form that cohesive unit that might allow them to get up towards that top 2 position. Let's go ahead and move on to our next division. Let's see what you have for us next here. Noxus up next. So I think, again, we have a case here of a pretty clear first place team. XG has just been very, very dominant so far. I do have Syndicate there in 2nd. I've got TFF Aftershock ranked higher than the rest of you guys in 3rd. That was actually our week 1 streamed matchup, and I personally was somewhat impressed with TFF's ability to kind of hang in there with Syndicate. It'll be interesting to hear your perspective on this, Zooey, as you obviously were in that match. But I felt like TFF were pretty competitive in a lot of the skirmishes. It was really the map play where they kind of were lacking and fell behind you guys over there on Syndicate. But I do have a Final Boss there. I think that's Final Boss. I always get these two confused. Rebirth is who I have in 4th there. And then Dynasty I have in 5th. I have Alpha in 6th. And Maelstrom rounding us out in 7th. So I want to come to you first for this one, Zooey. Your thoughts, if you would like to just recollect for us a little bit on that match you played against TFF and kind of your feelings about them in particular.
Oh god, that's so long ago. Hold on.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think TFF is just like your average middle of the pack team in like any group. I'm not too convinced they'll be like a front runner or anything. I think they're just okay. I think they have some pretty blaring weaknesses. And hopefully Rutledge gets back in form top lane, because I know he's been playing mid lane for the last like 6-7 months. So I think Rutledge is like a big strong point for this team if he can get back into form top lane.
Yeah, it's interesting. You are the only other guy in the call besides myself who actually has TFF ranked in the top 4 there in playoff position. So, clearly you have some amount of faith that they're going to be able to have a pretty decent showing here as we move into the back half of the season. But we'll just have to wait and see, yeah. So, Witch, I want to come over to you now. Just give us a full rundown here of your rankings, if you could.
Yeah. So I have just XG at the top, and then I have, I think it is Rebirth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Syndicate's and then I have Alpha, Dynasty, TFF, and then Maelstrom. I think that XG is just the team to beat in this
Yep.
in Noxus in general, and then I think that both of the final boss teams are particularly good, and then I mean Zooey's my goat, so he's good.
Aw.
But yeah, I definitely think TFF. Obviously, I have rated lower. I don't think that they're going to compete with the top four in the top 4 spots. I don't think that. I think they're not going to be able to do it, unfortunately. So that's just my opinion on it, but we'll see.
Interesting. And Solo Mason, your thoughts now. You and Witch both have both of the final boss teams ranked relatively highly here. Both of you have both final boss teams in the top 4. Maybe just talk to me a little bit about those squads, why you have so much faith in them.
Yeah, I mean, just from the small sample size that I've seen, I think they both are solid teams. I don't know any of the players particularly well, but just, from what I've heard from other people and what I've seen, they seem pretty solid. And to be honest, I think Syndicate, honestly, if we get to the end of the split and we look at it, I think they're the second best team in the group. A lot of the players are very good. I know a lot of these guys from playing in Conquer and scrimming and just playing overall games with them. But yeah, I have them third here just for their last loss. It was kind of unfortunate the way they ended up losing, but I think the final boss teams are definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. I mean, it was that loss for Syndicate, of course, as Zooey briefly mentioned back at the start of our podcast here. It was, of course, to XG, the top dog here in Noxus. So definitely fair that it was a potentially a demoralizing loss, for any fans of Syndicate out there. But I definitely do think that Syndicate is clearly one of the stronger teams here in the division. Let's go ahead and move on over to our last division to discuss. We have Demacia, last but not least. 2 of you guys, of course, playing here in the Demacia division. We'll run through my rankings to start us off. I do have the Shattered Spire up there in first. They have not lost a game just yet. You over there, Witch? You are looking pretty good so far. I do have the Spire Cats up there in second. Similar to you, Zooey, the Spire Cats have been looking really good recently, including a very convincing 2-0, I believe, that they did manage to pick up last week over No Quarter Gaming, if I recall correctly. But anyways, moving on. I do have AK Hearts there in third. Also been looking pretty strong recently. No Quarter Gaming suffered a couple more recent defeats. I have them in fourth. Fools 5. My faith in you guys, Solo Mason, a little bit shaken after you guys also suffered a couple of tough losses recently. And then I do have down there the Kittens with Mittens in sixth. And I do have Niner Esports rounding us out in last. But let's start with Zooey, the non-Demacia division player in the call here. Just give us a quick rundown.
Yeah. Make it short and sweet. I think this group is Spire and then everybody else. I think Fools 5 is maybe the only team that could possibly compete. I still have faith in Solo Mason versus the world. Don't worry. I have faith that Fools 5 will stabilize. That's why I have them at 3.
Solo Mason, what is that going to look like? What is the stabilization process going to be here? Because that was a 0-2 loss that you took last week to the Kittens with Mittens, who had not won a match just yet. So maybe let's actually start there. What went wrong last week? And then what is, kind of the fix that we put in place to turn that around and make sure that you finish strong here in the round robin?
Yeah, so a lot of the players here are kind of new to comp, so it's always a big learning curve playing from just normal game solo queue to competitive. It's an entirely different beast, and every single scrim, every single game we play, we're always looking to improve. We do have some roster changes coming up, like I had mentioned earlier, but we're just really looking to stabilize, just improve, and we're taking it one game at a time. We're just looking at it one step at a time, and trying my best to help everybody out where I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hoping that you guys are going to be able to kind of stabilize and continue to grow. I think that would be a really great story. If you just continue to ramp up for the rest of the season and secure yourselves that playoff spot, that would be great to see. I'm happy to be proven wrong over there. Obviously, having you in fifth, but if that does not end up being the case, then that would be awesome to see. So let's go ahead and move on over to you, which everybody here in the call has your team, Shattered Spire, up there in first on top of the group right now. Let's hear your thoughts about your matchup tonight. You are going to be on the stream this evening playing against AK Hearts, who you do have in second. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this matchup that you have coming up tonight. And
yeah, I will say, I just as a little tidbit, I think my predictions were messed up a little bit, but I had Spirecat second, but it's okay though.
Okay.
I think that it's the two Spire teams in general, and then unfortunately the rest fall underneath it. I think that tonight will just be a 2-0 for us. To be frank, I fully expect us to potentially not even drop a game during the split, but we'll see how that goes. I think that we just match up well against AK Hearts, and I think we're going to do well tonight.
All right. Well, happy to hear that. Definitely looking forward to seeing if your confidence is going to come through in the gameplay as well. But that's going to do it for Power Rankings. Let's go ahead and move on over to match predictions. If you have that for us, Mr. Producer. I'm going to take a look at the Demacia match predictions first here to start us off. So we do have to be No Quarter Gaming is playing against Niner Esports tonight. We all do have the No Quarter Gaming prediction there. No Quarter, they have had a couple of tough losses recently. It was the 0-2 to the Spire Cats that I briefly mentioned a moment ago. That was last week. And then No Quarter also was defeated by AK Hearts back in week 2. But we're all expecting them to emerge triumphant over here over Niner Esports. Zui, just talk to us a little bit about why that is.
I just don't think Niner Esports is a very good team. Just looking at stats and the players and how they play. While I played on No Quarter a very long time ago. Oh, did I lag? I might have had ping issues there. Sorry. But I think Muzz is the type of player who can really keep a team locked in and keep their head in the game when things are going wrong. I think I predicted them 2-0, but I wouldn't be surprised if this does go 3 games.
Interesting, yeah. Definitely Niner Esports been struggling quite a lot so far. We'll see if they're going to be able to do anything against No Quarter Gaming team. Not what we are predicting, though, as already mentioned. But our next matchup to discuss is going to be the Spire Cats versus Fools 5. I'm going to come over to you for this one, which then Solo Mason, I'll give you a chance to respond. So everybody except the Fools 5 player in the call here is predicting the Spire Cats to take this one. Why do you think that is?
I just think that in general, the Spire Cats kind of have it set as a team. They kind of mesh well together, and have figured their stuff out. Whenever, as Fools 5 has been saying, they've been kind of struggling a little bit, finding the cohesion. Everyone's kind of getting new to comp and stuff like that. I have faith in both Noah and Watercat as a team in general. And then I think they just have good matchups in general. I think that Poops Aquasman will give you some pointers there, Solo Mason. We'll see.
Interesting. Solo Mason, do you have a response?
I'm not gonna not predict my team to win, so I definitely will have confidence. I have confidence in my own gameplay. And like I said, when we've been practicing with the new roster, team cohesion seems to be good, team morale's up, so and of course I can't let my old teammate Watercat beat me, so gotta do what I can.
Right. Could you talk to us a little bit about the roster adjustments that you have for tonight?
Yeah, so in the jungle we have Counter XD playing. I played with him a little bit. I don't know if anybody knows him from Conquer, but he jungled a little bit for Horizon Gaming at that time. He's a very stable jungler, mostly a tank player, can play, a field carry champions, has a very solid pool. And then for mid lane, we actually have the captain subbing in Foolish. He hasn't really had a whole lot of time to play, but he brings like a different perspective in for our mid lanes. So
Okay, very cool. Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see if the captain and a new stable jungler is going to be enough to get you over the line against the Spire Cats. You know, the Spire Cats have been kind of on a tear recently. You know, they picked up the they lost obviously 0-2 to the Shattered Spire back in week 1, but since then they have been picking up a couple of 2-0s back to back. So they have been looking quite good. We'll see if you guys can slow down their momentum. But let's move back over to you, or actually, let's stick with you for a second, Solo Mason. I think I saw that you had for our streamed matchup tonight, you actually originally had AK Hearts there as the prediction, and then you swapped over to Shattered Spire while we were on the screen here.
So I accidentally put the Spire Cats originally as them. But I put the wrong Spire team there, but I fully expect the Shattered Spire to take it. You know, we played against them, you know, not too long ago, and they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. They're a very solid team.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we already heard from you about how you're very confident going into this match, but Zui, want to give you the chance to chime in as well, since this is our streamed match tonight. So what are your thoughts about this battle between Shattered Spire and AK Hearts?
Yeah, I think this game has maybe a slim chance to go to 3 if Spire gets a little too goofy and wants to have a little fun on stream. But if they just want to make it a quick and easy night, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a 2-0. I think the Spire team, the Shattered Spire, is probably just the best team in this group by like a long shot.
Which, any chance we're getting goofy tonight?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Let's move on to our next set of predictions here. Taking a look at our predictions for the Noxus division tonight. Starting us off, we do have Dynasty Star Weavers going up against Final Boss Rebirth. We are all Final Boss Rebirth predictors. Let's start with you for this one. Why is Final Boss taking the win tonight over Dynasty?
I just think that, as I said, Final Boss teams are both looking like pretty good. Rebirth, in general, I think are they at the top? Oh yeah, they're second place currently right now. Yeah, they're towards the top. Yeah, and I think I've played against a few of their players too. I'm just confident in their team to win tonight. So that's just
absolutely. You know, Rebirth has been picking up some wins in their first 2 matches here. You know, they had a bye in week 1. They got the 2-1 victory over their sister team in week 2. And they got a 2-1 victory over Maelstrom last week. A lot of people a little bit surprised that Rebirth did end up dropping that 1 game to Maelstrom, the team that we all had in last, right? But, you know, they have, Rebirth have been able to get it over the line every time so far. So, again, I think they're clearly favored tonight. And we'll see if they're going to be able to continue ramping up as we move further into the season. But moving into our next matchup, we have TFF Aftershock versus the aforementioned Maelstrom Esports. Let's come to you for this one, Zui. You are predicting TFF Aftershock, and if I recall correctly, you were also, alongside myself, the only other person in the call that was predicting TFF Aftershock to actually finish the round robin in the top 4. So maybe just refresh us again on why you feel like they're favored in this matchup.
I just think that the Maelstrom roster isn't too good. I think they're probably just on paper the worst roster, not just rank wise, but skill wise. I hate to say it, in this group. So I wouldn't be too surprised, even if it's a sloppy win for TFF. I think they still pull it out.
Okay, Solo Mason, and maybe I could get you to chime in here as well as a Maelstrom predictor. Why do you think this one might go the other way?
So I like to root for the underdog here, so
okay.
I just picked Maelstrom. I think TFF. I think they kind of surprised me in the fact that they're playing a lot worse than I had anticipated. You know, with Rutledge, you know, being top lane, he was playing mid lane, like it was said, you know, for the last 6 or so months. So maybe he's just struggling, you know, going back to top. But I'm feeling an upset tonight, you know.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it absolutely could happen. It's TFF Aftershock and their week 3 matchup. I believe they did lose out to Final Boss Alpha. I don't actually have that information in front of me right now, but they are definitely going to be looking to secure a much-needed win tonight, right, over what many people are considering to be possibly the weakest team here in the division. But let's go ahead and move on now to our last matchup here in Noxus. We do have XG Ratatosker. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Going up against Final Boss Alpha. And Zooey, you are our only Final Boss Alpha predictor, and this was actually the hot take that you submitted for us as well, or part of your hot take was predicting this upset to come through tonight. So how is that going to come about? Can you walk us through it?
All I gotta say is I'm a Final Boss fanboy as long as I'm not playing against them. So I'm in the Final Boss vote. I also think that this is probably the only team that has a chance at beating XG in groups. So for the sake of seeding, I'm praying that they pull through and help me out on Syndicate. So go Final Boss!
Makes sense. Makes sense. You think that Alpha actually has a better chance of taking on XG than Rebirth does?
I think stylistically, yes. But I know Rebirth is on paper the better team, so I wouldn't be surprised if Rebirth were the ones that managed to beat them and Alpha lost, but I gotta vote for the Final Boss gamers.
For sure. Yeah, that matchup between Rebirth and XG, that is going to be in week 6. So still a couple weeks away on that one. Let's go ahead and move on now to, I believe we probably have the Ionia division next for our predictions here. We're going to be taking a look at. We do have the Feverish Monkeys going up against OE Enigma. For our first matchup here, OE Enigma really been struggling recently. They've lost their past 2 matches, and that is why I am actually predicting the Feverish Monkeys to take the win tonight, which is a little bit contradictory to my power rankings that I had earlier. So I don't really know what's going on there, but those are my thoughts. Zooey, or let's go to you actually. Why do you think OE is going to be able to take this one?
In general, I think that OE is on paper not like I think they're not going to the sum of their parts essentially. So I think that if they pull their stuff together, they can actually beat Monkey's Fever. But we'll see tonight. That it's more of like a hopeful prediction for me.
So yeah, no, I feel similarly. I feel like OE have just been underperforming just a little bit. We definitely have and can see more from them. And it's just a matter of when or if that is actually going to come through. So maybe tonight will be the night. We are split right down the middle on that prediction, so should probably be a close match. But let's move on to our next one here to discuss. We got Dorado going up against the Omega Whoopers. And Zooey, let's come to you for this one. Is this just like another underdog, vote situation? Or why do you think the Whoopers are going to be able to get it done?
So Whooper had the very, very close series with Enigma. And while Enigma is struggling, I still think Enigma is one of the top groups or top teams in this group. So if Whooper are able to play at the same level they played against Enigma, or maybe a little higher even, I could see them maybe taking a 2-1 against Epsilon.
All right, yeah, but you are expecting this to be a pretty close match, though.
100%. I wouldn't be surprised if the games went like 40+ minutes.
Ooh, wow. Interesting. Yeah, excited to track that for sure. But let's go ahead and move on to our last matchup here in Ionia. We do have the Conduit Gremlins going up against the Shadow Cows. The Shadow Cows still hunting for their first win, in which you are predicting that win to come through tonight. So maybe just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as kind of the OE. I think that I don't know absolutely everybody on the Shadow Cows team, but I'm kind of hoping that their squad can get a win tonight, essentially. I think that if they're going to pull a win in the group, I think they're going to have to beat Conduit. So that's my thought process, at least.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, they already played against Omega Whooper. The Shadow Cows did, and that was, of course, a loss for the Cows. But the rest of us are predicting the Gremlins. So, Solo Mason, I'd like to get your thoughts here quickly as well. Why do you think how do you think maybe the Gremlins are going to be able to take the win over Shadow Cows?
Like I said before, I really thought about just predicting the Shadow Cows because I think this would be, like Witch said, if they are going to win, this would be the one to do it. But I didn't really have a whole lot of faith in the roster when I looked at it holistically and just from what I've seen in the match results, so I went with Conduit.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, I do feel like, personally, Conduit is possibly going to be one of the stronger teams actually by the time we finish the round robin. So we'll see if that ends up coming through. But let's move on. We are running out of time here. Let's quickly go through our last set of predictions here for the Freljord division. We do have Elysium on ice versus TTM Aegeon. Let's hear from our one TTM Aegeon predictor. What are you thinking there about this matchup?
I just gotta throw it to TTM. I mean, it was like the first team that I actually played on for comp wise, and I think that I know a lot of the squad, so I think that they can pull the win tonight.
Some sentimental association there. Fair enough. Yeah. We did see Elysium on ice on the stream. I believe that was week 2 when they did take the win over Clown Gaming. That was a pretty close series in the end, or at least, game number 1 going the Clown's way. We had 2 pentakills in that best of 3. It was a really wild stream, honestly. But Elysium have been looking pretty good. The rest of us are predicting them to take this one over TTM. Zooey, you are the one Elysian Thunder Raptor predictor here over Clown Gaming. The rest of us predicting the Clowns to get a much-needed win tonight. But why do you think the Thunder Raptors are favored in this matchup?
I look in the roster changes channel and see that Clown commits roster genocide or suicide, however you want to word it. They change their roster every week. It seems like so far they've had different players playing everywhere. I just don't think that type of inconsistency with roster changing does well in the long run. And they're already basically having to fight from the bottom up. So
yeah, fair enough. It's definitely really, really hard. And like I mentioned earlier, we're already at like the halfway point of the round robin here. So the fact that you still don't have a consistent roster is definitely very, very concerning. Thunder Raptors have also been struggling a lot so far this season, but definitely I think this is a matchup that could go either way. Our last matchup here is going to be Tilt Esports versus Mint Mafia. Solo Mason, let's just get your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I think Tilt's just by far, better team. Obviously, there could be an upset, but I think that they're just too much firepower there on Tilt Esports.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm definitely looking at this matchup tonight, as I mentioned earlier, just to see if Mint can put up any kind of a fight against Tilt. I feel like even if they end up losing the series, if they manage to take a game, or at least if the games are competitive, then I think that actually does bode pretty well for Mint's chances, being able to secure that playoff spot and potentially do some damage here in the rest of the season. That's going to do it for our match predictions, guys, and we don't really have time to go over any of your other hot takes that you submitted or anything like that. Unfortunately, we only have time for shout-outs, so I'm going to go ahead and give it over to you first. Zooey, any shout-outs you have, any words for the stream?
Shout-outs to the Syndicate boys. I hope we win on the bye week. It's a really tough opponent. Thank you guys for hosting this. It's always a pleasure to watch and to be a part of it. So thank you for that. Shout out to you guys. And yeah.
Good luck against the bye week. That is definitely formidable.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Solo Mason, your shout outs, please.
Yeah, I'm going to shout out Foolish. I think with everything that's been going wrong, he's kind of kept team morale up and he's really pushing through, and we're going to be playing hard.
Excellent. Happy to hear that. Glad to hear that morale is still in a good place, and definitely excited to see if you guys are going to be able to take the win tonight. Over to you, Witch. Last but not least, your shout out, sir.
Just shout out to BOL for putting this on in general. Thank you for having me in general. I will continue to be the Olaf merchant that everyone thinks I am.
All right. Hopefully he gets through the draft tonight and we can see some Olaf in action on the Rift for our streamed match that is coming up in just a few minutes, guys. Which going to be taking the Rift alongside the rest of the Shattered Spire going up against AK Hearts. We're going to go to a short break, and then we will be here for our Week 4 matchup. See you there.
man börjar beoft beisbar kalor när isok fyr samman wir stad. Teimer jarðar rammel teiven til heim og stjörnor hilt vindring spatit jord hunger hon där skall regngård regnon strömnor ej vasist Vorjar kallir vill ter ver på se tunnor med klorna till Var vorjar beoft beisbar kalor när isok fyr samman wir stad.
Welcome back, my good otters. I am here with the gallant Gitano as we get ready to navigate another week of action here in BOL Emerald. Gitano, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. We had another fun episode of Otter Talk this week, including, a couple of players that do play in this very division, including a member of Shattered Spire, which we had on the show with us this week. I was just telling you before we went live here, was very confident that him and the rest of the Shattered Spire were going to be able to pick up the 2-0 tonight over AK Hearts, who are only 1 point behind right now in the standings. So a close matchup on paper, but Witch was very, very confident.
Yeah, it's a bold prediction, but if you can back it up, more power to you, calling your shots. But yeah, on paper, everything looks good, but on the Rift can always mean a different story. So I'm excited. If they're predicting a 2-0, I might go along with them and try to predict a 2-0 and see exactly what happens. But unfortunately, if it doesn't go their way, you can't blame me. I'm only human, but I did get a win.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
it's really...
could be something, on paper. If I just follow the person that's confident, it could speak volume.
We could start to get that prediction rate back up for you, Gitano. You still have
I
a
can
lot
make
of runway to
playoffs.
go here. You absolutely could. You absolutely could. It is going to be very interesting to track, as we do have, cat predictions tonight as well. We're going to be able to continue to compare those to what my wonderful co-caster here is going to be opting for. But before we get into predictions, of course, we do need to get through the draft. And we have an interesting development on that front as well, Gitano. We do have AK Hearts. Their bot lane, unfortunately, does not have, neither one of them, the AD or the support, have enough games right now on their main accounts. So subsequently, the punishment there is they're going to be losing out on some bans. It's 2 bans per player who has that insufficient number of games. So it's only going to be 1 ban available for AK Hearts. I believe that's for all games that are going to be played tonight, right, production? Yeah, so that's a bit of a handicap that could, lend itself to that Shattered Spire victory that we were just discussing.
Yeah, that is a very hard, strong arm to put in there and to really, see how your team will adjust during this period. But at the same time, if you have that confidence, you have a deep champ pool, you know what matchups you're going against, you can feel comfortable still and really make that 1 ban, hopefully a lasting one here. Try to get something out for the last pick. And champ pools are running deep. You got the ultimate going on, so you have a little bit of wiggle room. Yes, it's hard, but it's not unforgiving.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like the 1 ban that is going to be allotted for AK Hearts is the 5th ban is what they are allowed to utilize. Is that right? Because I'm seeing, yeah, okay, makes sense. That is why we don't have any bans coming through from them right now. We do have the Diana and the Kindred getting banned away by Shattered Spire. Definitely a focus towards soccer there in the jungle. Soccer 25 played both the Kindred and the Diana last week in AK Hearts 2-1 victory over Niner Esports. The Kindred game, ex-Soccer 25, was 12-0. The Diana game, he was 14-2. So there were some really strong carry performances from the jungle there. Not at all surprised to see Shattered Spire focus soccer here in the draft.
Yeah, kind of targeting out that one individual, see if that continues, or if they're going to pick up the jungler in that first round if they opt out of it. Going into 3 to 4 bans deep on someone really eliminates their pool quite a bit here. But first pick we see out of Spire is the Ziggs. A little bit of flex pick can go mid. We've seen that towards the bot lane, and a really good usage as well out of his lane, being able to kind of push or sustain solo too if you need those roaming supports. Go up there to go pick up grubs, or for even tower taking. That bomb detonation can really do some damage here, as it looks like Seraphine on the opposite end is the counter pick.
Yeah, both of these champions, we've seen a decent amount already this season, right, Katana? As Seraphine, we saw Seraphine and Sona played. I believe that was last week that we saw that. It was unsuccessful. It was, I believe, the... who did we watch last week? It was the Reformed Monkeys versus OE. Was that our matchup last week?
Yep, I believe so.
Yeah, so it was OE trying to pull out the Seraphine Sona. They had the Heck Rim, right? It was Chris on the Heck Rim. They weren't quite able to get it over the line, despite the fact that, the Seraphine and Soda definitely had the potential to get a lot of work done that game. It just didn't really end up working out that way. The Monkeys were really successfully able to get on top of those Enchanters and burst them out at the beginnings of the fights. We do have the Nautilus is going to come through here on the R2. Do you think that's going to be a Seraphine Nautilus bot lane, or is Seraphine perhaps going mid?
I mean, I believe it's still up in the air officially with this. It could be definitely that bot lane. They do have enough lockdown CC with the Can you hear me?
You are back. You are
Okay.
back.
Sorry.
Oh, good.
I heard I was lost. But yeah, the Seraphine Nautilus, I think just the cooldowns are going to be a little frightening for that. But with the Ziggs, I think you could have a forgiveness there. As Alistair and Ziggs also have a little bit of cooldowns. You can predict 7-8 seconds between kind of everything. But I'm more interested of these third picks here, Jace and Kench being picked up.
Yeah, very interesting. The NA Jace going to be making an appearance here for Shattered Spire. That really does, say it reveals a lot of confidence, I think, for this squad. The Tom Kench coming through as well there on the R3. It does put us in a position where the AK Hearts, they are lacking a little bit in damage. One other interesting thing to note here, we have a tip from production that the AD carrier for AK Hearts has played Seraphine in every series so far this season. So that is an interesting thing to note. That explains somewhat, I think, the high priority on the pick.
Yeah,
Big comfort.
That would be it here. J4 also coming off the table. If you have those immobile carries and doesn't really have that dash over, like an Ezreal or a jump for Tristana, J4 can really do some damage with that Catechism. I know I've said it about a million times with a million different James, but Jace, I love Jace mid. I'm a big fan and really hoping to see him pop off here. I won't call any skins because we all know that happens. I don't get it. But I mean, another jungle band too coming out, so that is 3. Spire sending it out there, and then the Malphite and the Victor pick for the ban list. So we'll see what Hearts has to come back here if they want to show top or the jungle here or mid lane.
Yeah, likely the jungle pick going to get locked in. So it looks like we are going to see the Wukong here. It's almost certainly going to be the Tom Kench towards that top side. And Seraphine could still be flexed, but, knowing that information that we have seen Florigato play it in every match does lead us to believe that it is most likely going towards that bottom lane. It's, a decent team fighting composition here that the Hearts are starting to put together, but I still feel like they're lacking a little bit of damage. Over here on the other side for Shattered Spire, they've got a ton of long-range damage here with the Ziggs and the Jace. The Azir going to get locked away here as well, so that is going to be the blind mid lane option for Eros over here for Shattered Spire. And now their last selection, this could be the jungler that does need to get locked in for Witch, our Otter Talk guest. What is he thinking for game number 1?
Great engage tool. Really, I wouldn't say an A-tier jungler, S-tier up there, but still can do a great amount of clear, has great gank potential early on, and that ult can really lock someone down. It's going to be tough with the Tom Kench, if you see, the ult, Vault Breaker coming in soon enough or whatnot, you can pick them up and eat them away. I'm not sure how that interaction works, if Fi ults and then Tom Kench eats and pulls away, but it'll be interesting to find that out. And I know you said about Hearts, the damage, unless Wukong's really going to go with Black Cleaver, and a little bit more of a damage route there, that'll provide a little bit for him. And the Reeling Soul doing massive amounts to the late game, but I think early game right now is going to be really tough for them, just kind of looking at this lineup.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Gaetano. I mean, I feel like, maybe you could make something happen in the top lane. It is going to be the top lane Jace, it looks like. So, Tom Kench has a little bit of setup there. Maybe they can try and get themselves a little bit of a foothold in the early game that way. But I think that's, maybe a bit of a stretch even, and really their only potential option over here for AK Hearts in terms of trying to get any kind of early action going in their favor. They're mostly just looking to scale up, right? With the ASOL lock in here on the R5 and the Seraphine not going to be really that effective early on either. On the other side here, though, the Vi, you were just wondering about that Tahm Kench interaction. I can confirm for you that if Vi is using the ultimate and Tahm Kench responds by ulting the target that Vi is ulting, then Vi, it just immediately cancels Vi's ult. She stops moving, and it just, completely nullifies it. So that is a little bit of a self-counter pick that did come through here, but I do think that the Vi is great, may not be great into the AK Hearts composition, but it is definitely very strong for the Shattered Spire draft here. They needed a little bit more engage. They needed a go button, I think, to really actually choose their moment when they want to go in, because they had a lot of very non-committal poke, right? They had a lot of damage, but they needed that little bit of engage, that little bit that ability to engage in those critical moments.
Yeah, unless you're gonna be looking at, the Alistair with the pulverize, Hextech Flash, trying to get a flank or something like that. Otherwise, the Shurima Shuffle can always be an option. But, Shurima Shuffle's not always viable, and the Alistair, all it takes is one hot second of not hitting the wombo combo, and you're out. But the Vi, the point and click, it's like the Vigorel. High skill cap, you pick it, you choose it, and there you go. So, a good balance by Spire. I see, a great the future of them probably poking everyone out before the team fight starts, or at least trying to get a little bit of damage down before something happens. Even a split push, Vi is a great tool depending on if she's going to go try first item or a little bit more tanky. She can also deal with a 1-3-1 option here. If you leave, Azir, Jace, and Vi can all split push against the Soul quite comfortably, I'd say, as well as if you have something else out there. So I'm really intrigued to see how this early game goes, because if Hearts gets a good lead, that can definitely push them towards that mid to late game, and they're going to have enough sustain in front line to really say, hey, pick your battles. But, if Spire pokes out before the fight goes, I think it's going to be all over.
Yeah, that is definitely what Spire are going to be looking to play for here with this composition. They're going to look to keep their distance until they chip away at those health bars, and then they're going to be able to move in for the kills, potentially. But let's turn our attention now towards this ASOL. This R5 ASOL pick that did come through here for AK Hearts into the Azir. How do you feel about this pick just in general, Gitano? And then, with the additional context of the rest of the draft and what it's playing against in the Azir.
Yep, so in lane, I've played as both sides against both of them. Aosol just likes to kind of sit back, scale up, use the black hole and just really let everything come to him, not really, figuring out too much. And Azir kind of has a little bit of early um, isn't quite as strong as people give him credit for the early game, because you have to have that 2 to 3 item to really ramp up. So in the mid lane, I think it's a little bit of a stalemate in lane, unless these junglers really provide help. Because Wukong, getting around the corner, having that 1 or 2 seconds invisible, and especially if Azir decides to shuffle before going in or out or kind of using his minions, that leaves him very vulnerable. On the other side here, Aeolsol too, a Viald can really come cranking down, making sure that he's got nowhere to go, add a Shurima Shuffle on there. So I think it's more of the junglers' taste, if they're going to help this mid lane or not, or how frequently we see them. Otherwise, I think it's going to be the stalemate. But in team fights too, they both supply mass amounts of damage and utility to their team. One's got a giant wall and a giant crater coming down. If Iron Man can survive it, maybe Spire can too.
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. It is, a mass extinction event is going to be what the
Yes.
Hearts are looking for. But if that is actually going to come through, the size of the asteroid is yet to be determined. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one. I do think our last really pressing order of business to discuss here is going to be those junglers. You were just briefly touching on it a moment ago, Gitano, sort of considering the possibility that they might try to have some kind of impact here in the mid lane. How likely do you think that is, though? What do you expect from these junglers here in the early game? What do you think they're going to be prioritizing? And how do you think that's really going to shape up?
We always want to say, whenever we see J4, we're thinking, all right, early action, level 2, level 3 is going to be somewhere, but it ends up being a full clear. So I'm not sure if I want to say, yep, it's going to be the exact same thing here, but I think they're going to be a little bit more neutral in their pattern, maybe do a full clear, see what lane looks the best. But if I'm a jungler, I'm looking for those, immobile atmospheres with a Seraphine and a Ziggs. If you time your abilities right, you can really get them off, footing, especially with their long cooldowns and abilities. So I'm expecting these junglers to be very active. But
Okay.
my predictions are already all everywhere, so I'm not sure how much stock I can put into my jungle predictions. I don't want to fall
Sure,
back on
sure.
1 in 30 for what I'm figuring.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident you're going to be able to avoid that one, Gitano. But it is definitely interesting. There is a lot of setup in the bot lane with both Alistar and the Nautilus having the ability to set up for those ganks potentially really, really nicely. But also, both these junglers, the Vi and the Wukong, they both spike really hard at level 6, so they kind of just want to get to that level 6 point where they get their ultimate. And there's a lot of scaling characters on both sides as well. So both teams probably would be relatively content to just scale through the early game. But it is now prediction time, my friend. The Cats are going with AK Hearts here for this game number 1. Taking the drafts into account, though, what is your prediction going to be?
I'm going the other way. Give me Spire. I see some of my favorite champs. I liked where it's going here. If we exchanged maybe the Seraphine out and we had, a Caitlyn, a Jinx, something around there.
No, I would
the
agree.
Wukong jungle. It's like the Morgana one. Either it's going to work really well, or because you only have the go in button. Once you get in there, you're not really getting out. But it's all to be seen and heard because it's all speculation until we get on the Rift. But that would be my prediction. I'm throwing it over to Spire.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is comfort for the bot laner there for AK Hearts, but will that be enough to take down the team that 66% of players in this division do think are the number 1 squad in Shattered Spire? We're going to go to a short break, guys, and then on to the Rift for our first game of Week 4.
The era of metal has begun, and metal shall prevail. For we know what they have done. 5 legends of our realm who sought to follow the path of their dark musings. But they did not know what they had summoned. Pentakill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal.
Okay, BOL fans, welcome to Summoner's Rift for our first game of Week 4. We do have the Shattered Spire on the blue side and AK Hearts on the red to start this one off. AK Hearts going for a little bit of a level 1 look-see here. We do have the Nautilus. That is potentially a very potent champion at level 1. Looking to gain some control over the brushes here in top lane. Try and make Synthwave's game, his lane, a little bit difficult. Not going to find the Jace, though. Just yet, anyway.
Yeah, they are just crowding around, and they are just looking for Jace to maybe
Rajin gonna flash
overstep.
for this one. Good response flash there from Synthwave, but Jace down flash. That's and Rajin has the Hex Flash as well, so that's somewhat of a success for AK Hearts.
Yeah, I would call that a win. Do you remember the old Ailsol that you couldn't go into bush because the three
Yeah,
balls of
true,
light
yeah.
would be running around and you'd never be caught off guard? I kind of miss it, but was never good for gangs like that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they didn't really need Okami to be there on the Ace Soul. It didn't really actually contribute anything in that situation. Obviously, if the Dredge line had landed onto the Jace, then the Ace Soul can contribute some damage there. But in the situation where it was old Ace Soul, then you could have just had him play a little bit further back and not stand in the bush. That would have probably been fine. We do have our junglers starting on their respective bot side buffs. Both can be clearing top towards that flashless Jace.
Yeah, we'll see if that is something that they kind of rush towards or if they're going to play it kind of by ear here. As we look at Jace, I see that towards the mid. Top lane might be good for a couple of levels here against the Tom Kench, but if Tom Kench goes in, a switch, quick shift, the hammer form.
This cute
Kench
little
goes in
combo there. As in the bot lane from Boostus and Wanderer to headbutt and then satchel rage into the tower, but the Nautilus is able to get away there with the dredge line.
Interesting. Yeah. I was not even thinking about that, but that might be something they have to look at.
Yeah, definitely something to watch out for.
So far, Seraphine and Nautilus doing a good job of pushing in here. They have ward coverage too, just in case, but I think they spotted out Vi early going towards red, so they know she's going to be kind of far away and they can be poke heavy here, but a little bit of mana spam here by Seraphine as she is very low right now. On that, kind of has to be a little weary.
Does have the teleport, right? Florigato does on the Seraphine, so can go back to base, replenish that mana bar if necessary. We do have Soccer 25, a little bit faster on the clear right now, about half a camp ahead of which at the moment. Vi's still working on her blue buff. Wukong, she just finished it up now, I guess. So they're pretty much dead even. Vi is going to be first into the river, actually taking a look at potentially towards the mid lane here. He's going to flash in for the Vault Breaker, connects it onto Okami, who goes down extremely low, but will be able to glide back towards safety underneath the turret there. Aso looks like he's thinking about sticking around. You know, Okami also with a teleport, but wants to try and collect this wave before going back to base.
Yeah, it was a really good heads-up play by Vi. Ready to blow the flash in order for that kill. Okami barely able to get out there. I think another Vi hit as well as a proc here from the Zir, but now Wukong's looking for his chance at mid.
Yeah, Soccer 25 is going to move in, but doesn't have any CC to set up for this play. Level 4 Wukong not really going to be able to make that one happen. And, you know, honestly, not so bad for the side of Okami and AK Hearts, right? The Aesol didn't even have to burn his flash there for that attempt. He's still holding on to both summoners. And, you know, the pressure is definitely in Eros' favor. You know, you were talking a little bit in the draft even about the, you know, early game power of the Azir that a lot of people actually sleep on. Not to say that he's like an early game champion or anything. He just does a little bit more damage than, you know, one might expect in the early game.
Yeah, if you're able to get the procs here with the, you know, runes that you're going with too, you can really find some really nice poke, especially in this range lane. Now, if you have someone that has a gap close, you know, like a LeBlanc or a Yasuo, you have to be really careful about, you know, how you're sending out your minions. But here, you have a good amount of poke where you can just kind of set them up, knowing that your lane opponent's going to have to kind of move over there in order to either sacrifice a couple of minions or eat a few shots from you.
Yeah. So we do have Vi hovering towards this bottom lane right now. The wave is pushing in towards Shattered Spire at the moment. It looks like Witch is not going to go for any kind of play down here. Just Boost just wants to keep farming up on the Ziggs. Wants to get towards that first item, stacking up the tier already, right? Actually, Synthwave just now going back to base and picking up a tier as well on the Jace there.
Yeah, 3 tiers and 3 teleports on each side here. So a lot of action here that we're expecting in that mid game with the power spikes as well. Those Seraphine Embraces being able to tank up so much damage if you do get bursted down.
Yeah, absolutely right. Can be a really powerful item once you do have that fully stacked up. And you know, it's we talked a little bit about the scaling already, and there are definitely some pretty strong scaling elements on both sides. You know, it seems like we're have a very quiet early game on our hands here, Gitano. So maybe it is time to sort of begin that conversation about if the game does end up going really late. Do we favor one of these compositions significantly over the other in terms of the scaling? Do you feel like they're pretty even? How are you expecting that to really shape up for us?
I'm seeing this pretty even throughout. Both have definitely their highlights of what's going to have happen. As you see Spire, some action going on. Comet going down here.
In trouble, has the Emperor's Divide to push the monkey away. Soccer still only level 5, doesn't have access to the Cyclone right now, and Eros is going to be able to scoot over the wall to get back towards safety. Meanwhile, the Grubs are getting taken down by Witch and Synthwave up in that top river.
And now they're looking for a Seraphine. Couple of shots here. As back to your question earlier, the scaling potential, I think they both have that. Azir and Soul being a great scaling mids for both options here. Azir, with that 3 to 4 item spike, really kind of tears through your team. Any frontline that really opposes him and can really, smack you down, especially with the attack speed. If you're going that route, if you're going for that, and it looks like, yeah, they're doing it right away. Azir or Eros will be grabbing the attack speed.
Yeah.
But the Ale Soul, you're able, with that singularity, able to kind of put that with the Rylai's, and all of a sudden the fight is, we have to go all in, or we have to try to run away from this with the Comet coming down and everyone else kind of throwing stuff at you here. The Wukong into the ult could really be a wombo combo with the Seraphine starting off fight. So Nautilus is going to be tanky, and Tahm Kench will just be a giant catfish with a tongue, which is never a bad thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So he's going to be licking
afraid of him.
everybody as we get towards that later stage of the game. And yeah, I think that's maybe one of the largest distinctions, or the biggest advantage, I should say, that AK Hearts have with this composition over what their opponents have, is they are going to have a really beefy front line, right? With the Tahm Kench and the Nautilus, even the Wukong is going to be able to tank some stuff up with the clone, right? Is probably going to go for a little bit more of a bruisery build as well for Soccer 25, try and set up for the A-Soul. So, yeah, I think that could look really good for them. If the front line is able to create space for Okami to get the damage out, that definitely could be the recipe for success for AK Hearts. We did see the first dragon go over a little while ago. Soccer 25 is going to go over the wall here with the Warrior Trickster. A-Soul the Azir rather, has no flash. Goes for the Emperor's Divide once again for the depth charge for the knockup and the first blood. It will come through for the AK Hearts jungler. Now Witch trying to Vault Breaker away from this one. Is going to flash as well, but the A-Soul Breath of Light is going to take him down. 2 kills now on the board for AK Hearts.
Yeah, what a fight. You see them hovering around towards that mid-right side there of the dragon. Wukong goes over. Vi pops up just to see him, but not in time. And unfortunately, Eros, taking the brunt of it, grabbing 3 towards him right away, and just not quick enough on the divide to be able to shove everyone away. Yes, you blew a couple of flashes to get onto you, but that also, unfortunately, is the kill.
Yeah, really nice setup there from Soccer 25. He gets over the wall. Oh, headbutt Pove in the bot lane. The Infernal Bomb. The flash away is not going to be enough to keep Florigato alive. And that is going to be Boostus on the board for Shattered Spire. Raging, trying to get underneath the turret, but the Pulverize keeps the Nautilus in place, and Boostus picks up the double.
Yeah, what a play there by the bot lane. Using the exhaust at the correct time, waiting for those cooldowns, and a great headbutt pulverize, as well as Ziggs just following up, trusting his teammate to grab the 2-0 kill now. And I didn't realize this earlier, Seraphine with the call as well. I did not see that when she picked that up.
Now, that is interesting. I didn't quite see when she got it either. You know, it's still a lot of stacks on that call, so it's going to be quite a while before Florigato actually gets that payoff. But, you know, that is going to, whenever it does complete, that is going to be a big boost to the economy for the Seraphine. So maybe that will allow her to kind of catch up a little bit towards Boostus, who is now obviously accelerated decently ahead of his counterpart, about 600 gold ahead from those 2 kills. This Raging is going to get tagged by the Vault Breaker here as Nautilus just kind of walking into the enemy jungle there, not respecting the possibility that Shattered Spire were in the area. Just gets punished very easily there. That's number 3 for Spire.
Yeah, Grub's coming up, and they had, Vision Ward in that bush, kind of sitting comfortably, but maybe just a little too overzealous there as they try to get some vision. Unfortunately, no one there to help Nautilus, and just is taken out before the fight even begins.
Yeah, and this is going to be 6 grubs as well. That is going to get picked up by Shattered Spire, so that's going to feel really great for Synthwave's Jace, especially. Should be able to put on a lot of pressure on that sideline, and boost his Ziggs as well, right? Is one of the most famed turret demolishers in the game. Having that 6 grub buff going to feel really fantastic for the Ziggs as well.
Oh,
Speaking of the Ziggs, though,
running here.
Yeah, is getting collapsed on right now. Boostus is not going to be able to get away from the depth charge here. Knocked up into the Cyclone. Dredge line connects, and Florigato going to be able to get a little bit of revenge.
Yeah, a little bit of take back there. Ziggs pushing up just a little too far with no support. Not a lot of great vision either, and a great collapse here by Hearts.
Absolutely. A nice punish. Nice setup there from the Nautilus and the Wukong once again. And we are all tied up now. 3 kills apiece. About a 500 gold lead for AK Hearts at the moment. And they're scaling up. They've got their A-Soul. Is cruising towards that level 11 mark. It's looking okay for him so far.
Yeah, no team really pushing the advantage right away. We talked about these scaling teams, and I think we're going to get there. More than likely. Dragon coming up here in just a couple of seconds. We'll see if there is a fight or just a give for that as well here. 6 grubs plus a dragon here. You put yourself even footing. Alistair, though, gonna find Nautilus looking out first here. Fights.
Yeah, they're going to catch out onto Raging. The objective is the focus, though. A Synthwave with the early rotation down here is going to help the team burst down that objective. So Dragon count tied up now as well as the kills. And pretty important, I think, as we do see the Mountain Soul is going to be on the table for us for this game number 1, Gitano. And that is definitely great news for Shattered Spire that they're able to get that Dragon and sort of prevent any early soul possibilities for their opponents. As Wanderer, a little bit caught out here, is going to have to pop the Unbreakable Will. Dredgeline will connect. The Encore committed onto the Alistar as well, who's in ultimate. The headbutt back Raging in range of the Vault Breaker. Now Wanderer will survive. The Nautilus will not cease and desist. Florigato going to get clobbered by the hammer. Synthwave comes down from the skies, and Florigato finds himself in the dirt.
Mid lane, though, Shurima Shuffle pushing him to safety the other way, and I think that would have been an Azir kill. And I'm trying not to make a hammer time joke, but eventually somewhere down the line, I will be with that Jace picking up the kill. And we saw the fight before even towards the Dragon. There was about a good third HP from Seraphine getting chunked out just from the Shock Blast Gate.
Yeah. And, we actually had another note from production as well. And I don't think we've mentioned just yet the fact that Synthwave is actually very comfortable on this Jace. Has pulled out a couple of wins on the pick this season of BOL Emerald already. I believe there was an 8-5 win for the Jace, and then like an 11-3 win or something like this. So certainly Synthwave, no stranger to the champion, and I think we're starting to see some of that comfort really shine through here.
Yeah, Ghostblade picked the first item here, really able to run you down. And I think that's nothing people may sleep on is the Jace damage. But
they do have caught out the Pigeon. Arrow's going to get pulled in by the Dredge line and is not able to escape. So Soccer 25 and Raging teaming up yet again to get another kill on the board for AK Hearts.
Yeah, I think maybe there was like a 6-pack, maybe left out, the wrappings of it. It got wrapped around the pigeon foot, and he wasn't able to escape there. I think that is what we saw with these objectives coming on the board. I think it's the pattern here is that you have to understand that the enemy team's already there. If you're not set up when it starts, or at least a minute beforehand, just
Yeah.
assume that they're already in there. Give it up unless you have 5 people that's ready to back you up on it.
Yeah, absolutely right. Both of these teams, I think we need to see a little bit more respect. When you don't have vision control in an area, you need to be a little bit more cautious about moving in. Make sure, like you said, Gitano, that your team is behind you and that you are actually going to be able to fight if you find a bunch of people in a bush. So that is something to track for us for sure as we move further into this game number 1. Gold lead still, or gold difference rather, is extremely negligible right now. Really nothing to it. And this next dragon, coming up in a couple of minutes' time, could potentially be a big turning point for this game.
Yeah, just having the Mountain Dragon is going to play out so heavily for each team here. If Hearts does end up grabbing that soul point, their front line, already an issue, as you voiced earlier here, is going to be exponentially, a weary cause for them. As Tom Kench with the Heartsteel as well, it's going to be a giant catfish to deal with here. Wukong picking up the Hydra, the Profane, doing a little bit more
Interesting.
damage
Yeah.
for that aspect of it here, and Nautilus just going to be a giant man with a hook, which the whole team just scary. A giant
Yeah.
catfish and a giant man riding around with a hook. Seems like a great terror film.
For sure, for sure. There's of course, the Halloween Nautilus skin as well. Not what we went with this
Yes.
time around, but definitely, an option. But yeah, the Hydra choice for Soccer 25, a very interesting one, is of course going to mean that the Wukong is extremely squishy, needs to be really careful about getting caught out, and these fights could potentially get burst down really, really rapidly. But I kind of like it, actually. With this composition, AK Hearts, they needed a consistent source of physical damage. The Wukong is really the only one who'd be able to provide that. And Soccer 25, we know, is actually the main carry for this squad as well. So making sure that that player specifically has the tools to carry in the fights, I think is critical for the squad. Here he comes now, Soccer 25. And it's going to be Rage, and actually gets mispositioned once again by a Wanderer. Sicko Ghost over the wall there with the Abyssal Dive, and Boostus now in trouble. Has the Satchel to get back towards the turret. Tom Kench now going to get knocked up by the Pulverize. Is going to be able to back away. Tanky enough to survive there. As, the flash over the wall devours the Alistar, but Wanderer just going to be able to use the Unbreakable Will to get out of that situation, which, though, in trouble. The Aurelius Ultimate comes down, takes down the enemy jungler. We do have Synthwave diving in there, gets a bunch of damage out, but not really able to finish anybody off. The Jace now going to get taken down as well. Aurelion Soul gliding forward, continuing to look for a little bit more. Boostus daring to step forward, connects the bomb. Okami in trouble. The flash forward, the shutdown. Ferreros, the mid laner for Shattered Spire, finds the kill. That does make it a 2-for-2 overall, but Soccer 25 still very healthy on the Wukong. Looks like he will be the one to secure the objective in the aftermath.
Yeah, after all of that back and forth, the gold lead still very, very close here. Picking up the Dragon, 2-1 for the side of Hearts here. I don't expect we're going to see anything happen here. Jace was kind of on that outside, waiting for someone to come over the edge, maybe Wukong or another player. So he, didn't switch, to kind of a poke style in the middle of that game. But also, Okami doing a great job just in the middle of that fight, crashing down the crater, and then trying to pick someone off. We saw blinking health bars by both Ziggs, and Jace, but unfortunately not enough to pick up the kill at the end of that fight.
Yeah, really low health bars for a lot of members there on both teams. In the aftermath of that one, definitely a very close fight, as evidenced by the goal difference, right? Really awesome to see these two teams playing each other so closely. Shattered Spire was so confident going into this one on Otter Talk as well. So Synthwave with the acceleration gate there is going to be able to get back towards safety. But everybody on Otter Talk as well is predicting Shattered Spire to take the win tonight. And, the fact that AK Hearts have been playing them so closely so far in this game number 1 is a great sign, as Boostus satchels away from the Wukong there. Soccer 25 had the Cyclone available, but that well-timed satchel is going to dissuade the Wukong from fully committing to the play.
Yeah, Ziggs being such a good deter on that, especially if the satchel does hit. He could opt to hit you, opt to hit himself. There's many times
Synthwave gonna be
Jace here
forced
going
to
in.
go in here, but the Ace ultimate comes down once again. The Jace on like 1 HP is gonna burn down to the Leandries, and Okami picks up kill number 3. In comes Arrow, so is gonna be able to scoop the dragon underneath the turret, trades it back 1-for-1 overall.
Great Shurima shuffle there, and Nautilus here has to figure out a way out. Looking at the blast plant,
Yeah,
a little bigger of a room,
Boost is going to be able to satchel him a little bit back towards the rest of the team. Witch comes in, the cease and desist comes out. Raging in trouble, does go for the depth charge to try and create a little bit more space. The encore as well for the peel. The Tom Kench ultimate to save the support. Soccer 25 goes in with the Cyclone. They have managed to exfiltrate their support player. Raging will survive, and Shelly getting that crash into the tier 1 turret as well.
Yeah, that encore hitting 4 people and really lining them up. Unfortunately, Wukong not able to do enough damage just yet, and unfortunately, Aosol not able to be there too to help kind of clean that up with the Singularity and the ult. So a little unfortunate timing there. Good trade backs back and forth, and good job by Azir picking up the Shurima shuffle into the tower. Even with the escape from Aosol, he took too many shots, and especially with that Nashor's Tooth. Now you're gonna get 3 to 4 good shots in before he's even out of range.
Yeah, absolutely right. So we do have a little bit of a fight breaking out here towards the mid lane. The dredge line is going to connect onto the Ziggs. Boost is getting burst down, taken down by Sickle. Goes to the Tom Kench, dives forward. And now the side of Shattered Spire have to try and retreat, but another hook going to land from Raging. They do trade back as Sickleman gets taken down. Arrows doing a ton of damage here on the Azir. Fills them full of spears, and is going to be able to take 2 down in that attempt. So another 2 for 2 here in the mid lane. Floragato taking a turret shot there, but should be all right. In comes the Falling Skies, and that's going to set up for the Wukong to dash forward. That really fed Azir going to get taken down, and it's Soccer 25 now on a rampage.
Yeah, 4, 0, and 3. A 3 on a shutdown, but Jace, not deterred from the tower there, goes into Hammer for it and just lights up Seraphine.
Yeah, I mean, Floragato can't be hanging out there in the 1v1. The Seraphine actually teleported up to that top lane tier 1 to try to defend it, but I think in that situation, probably should have just let it go. Does end up giving over 1 kill back to Synthwave and the rest of Shattered Spire. Still a very close game that we have on our hands. We got another Mountain Dragon, though, spawning in about a minute, and this Aurelion Soul is just getting stronger and stronger. Potential soul point situation for AK Hearts if they can win this next fight.
Yeah, not a lot of great vision popping up just yet, though, but the team, they are pushing down this mid lane, hoping to crush this here with the Ziggs
early
passive.
Depth charge there from the Nautilus, but the turret is going to go down. Soccer 25 dashes forward. Boost is going to flash away from the Wukong to try to stay alive. Gets pulled in once again, though. Eros is here. Keep your eyes on the Azir there in the back line. The Ziggs is going to get taken down. Eros still able to hit for now. Synthwave flashes in, brings down the hammer. It is hammer time indeed, my friend. The Shock Blast connecting as well. Wukong went for the hills on such a low HP. Barba Witch a little bit too far forward. Going to get taken down by the Aesol, and now the Astral Flight forward, the double kill, make it a triple for Okami on the Aurelion Soul, and he's gonna get 1 more reset. Wanderer tries to headbutt the dragon away, and Okami is gonna have to flash away from the Azir turret, so the cow is gonna manage to stay alive, but it's the mid laner for AK Hearts cleaning up the team fight, and is going to allow them to secure their second Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, that Aosol just doing such a great job. That Leandri's Rylai's combo. As soon as you're kind of stuck there, you have no option but to get out. And he's able to chase you down so well and be adaptive over every single wall. That Breath of Light is going to keep spamming you every single second, even if you run away, and the Astral Flight being able to take off. Just a great utilization that we're seeing here from Okami. And unfortunately, the team split a little bit here for Spire, as we saw, 2 towards the mid, another one right over the wall. Unfortunately, that tower that Azir put up too was just not able to help and a little out of range, but a good job and a heads up play here from the Alistair, almost being able to pick up the kill and burning Okami's flash.
Yeah, good for Wanderer, able to survive there, but a silver lining at best, right, for Shattered Spire. They are now in a really difficult position, I feel, in this game, as Synthwave going for a play onto the Aesol, but the Jace is 2 levels down, and is just going to get beat down once again there in the side lane. Raging in position to support the mid laner. Synthwave finding himself in the death chamber once again, and now a nice flank position for Sicko Ghost. The side of Shattered Spire going to be forced to try and turn. The Encore going to connect onto Witch. Now Soccer 25 dashing forward, connects onto one with the Cyclone. Second activation of that, not going to get a whole lot done, but Wanderer is stuck here, tries to flash away. And the Alistar looks like will survive as he gets back underneath the tier 2 turret. Eros, meanwhile, split pushing. As we can see here towards the bottom side, is going to be able to get some much-needed gold in the coffers here for Shattered Spire. But now the Baron start is coming through for AK Hearts.
Yeah, Azir able to take towers really quickly with that Nashor's Tooth. We'll see if Vi tries to do something here. Not a lot of vision in it either, so it's kind of a blind pick out in there.
Oh, Witch does have a control ward actually in the pit right now, but going to get devoured by the Tahm Kench. And Witch is beautiful bodyguard play here from Sicko Ghost. Prevents Vi from ever having a chance of getting into that Baron pit. Good control here by AK Hearts. They're going to continue burning it down. No jungler for Shattered Spire. This should be an easy Baron secure. There's a lot of poke, though. There's a lot of damage that is going to come out. The Baron does go over, but now it's going to be Shattered Spire looking for the punish. Arrows goes in, flashes forward, finds 3 with the scoop, but it's not enough. They've already lost the team fight. Boostus tries to satchel away, but it's going to be a double kill over to the support as Ragent picks up 2. The Baron on top for AK Hearts, and they are looking to secure the win here in Game 1.
Yeah, death timers here around that 30 seconds for your big 2 Ziggs and Azir. Jay's coming up in 20 as well. This is going to be tower into him. Maybe more if they want to get a little greedy, but you see 2.5 minutes here for the Dragons, so there's nothing really much for them to contest right now if they decide to push. You have Alistar and you got Vi able to deter enough. Ugh. I think they may have they could have pushed a little bit, but Seraphine off to the side here, possibly grabbing up that tower as well, and some much needed gold for them here as they're going to push this lead almost to 10k. Or sorry, I totally missed that decimal point there. Not as bad as I thought, but still round 8.
I mean, it's huge at this point. It's a 9k gold lead for the side of AK Hearts. You know, I do think that backing off there was probably the right call as well. You know, you have a ton of gold in inventory after securing the Baron and winning the team fight. You weren't going to be able to end off of that push anyways, as the respawns were starting to come through from Shattered Spire. In comes the Dragon once again, level 16 now for Okami, and Synthwave just getting absolutely shredded, dominating on the Aurelion Soul. 9-2 now for the AK Hearts mid laner. And it really does feel like they're just putting the finishing touches on this one.
Yeah, Jay's quite a bit of down here in the CS. 174 compared to the 240, almost 250 here for the Soul. 9, 2, and 6, 650 bounty on his head. I know they want to collect it, but you might have to send 2 to 3 in order for that pickup to actually happen.
Oh,
meanwhile, on the bot side,
in the bot lane, and in goes Soccer 25, finds the knock up, the strongest member there for Shattered Spire, just going to get taken down underneath the tier 1 turret. I feel like, unfortunately, again, that was a situation where defending the turret probably ill-advised for Eros. You know, the enemy team has Baron. You're not going to be able to defend that tier 1. And meanwhile, Okami just going to be able to glide away from Witch.
Yeah, you just want to be turtling right now. There's no need to extend out past that second tower. Even, you know, at that point, that might be a little much. But make sure that you're not alone. All these picks that we're seeing in kind of 1v1 trades are really having 2 to 3 people, you know, for Hearts to have right behind them here. Wukong and, you know, Nautilus doing a great job of wandering together. Tahm Kench being a factor is that as well. But I feel like they've just been kind of a roam squad throughout this entirety, or, you know, they're kind of waiting in the wings for Spire to really attack. And we see another counter engage here. They're just waiting for someone to pop up here.
Wanderer saw a Nautilus Hex flashing out of that bush, so the Alistar is going to be able to back away, but it is pretty much impossible for Shattered Spire to approach here for the Mountain Soul, as it is going to go over to the side of AK Hearts. They have got their Tahm Kench now closing in on level 16 as well. The Sicko Ghost is incredibly large, and should be pretty easy to close things out from here. They don't have Baron buff anymore. That's going to be spawning again in a little over 2 minutes, so they might have to wait to get that Baron back once again before they can actually end the game. But things are looking pretty straightforward from this point for AK Hearts.
Yeah, I saw the shock gate there from Jason. I think he actually healed Tom Kench.
Yeah.
That's about how tanky this man, especially with the Jack shows and the hard steel. You have, two things working for you exponentially, and Azir pushing up. We see this time and time again.
Gonna be
Good
able to get over the
shuffle
wall. Yeah,
over.
is the Azir going to be able to create enough distance here?
I
No,
don't
he is
think so.
not, because Raging is here for the auto attack. Emperor's Divide does come through. It is not going to be enough. Florigato gets the kill credit. Number 3 for the Seraphine, a 5v4 on the map now for AK Hearts. 90 seconds on the Baron.
Yeah, I think maybe desperation attempts, trying to make the solo plays, just, maybe adjustments for game 2. Game 1 is always the feel, trying to figure out, what you're playing against, their play style. You can adjust here, but this front line is just going to be so hard to come across here. Tom Kench not
Here
always.
it comes. The skies descend. The sky is falling for the Shattered Spire. Wanderer going to try to flash away to get back underneath the Nexus turrets. Pulled back in, though, by Raging's Dredge Line once again. The Nautilus Dredge Line accuracy this game has just been absolutely fantastic. Boostus, tagged by the Encore there, is going to get taken down. They're just picking him off underneath their Nexus turrets. Now, Synthwave is going to have to flash back onto the fountain to try to survive, and is not going to be able to as he gets devoured by the Tom Kench. And that is going to do it for game number 1, Gitano. Unfortunately, your record will fall to 1-7. The Cats get another one on the board.
Why? Why am I not smarter than my cats? It's a curse, if anything, But what can I say? Maybe, cats in Egypt were worshipped and all knowledge and knowing, so maybe we just lost our ways and we should be listening more towards them. If I find one of my cats, I might just put them on the headset, put that over and, just hold them while they can cast, and I'll just kind of nod my head.
Could be good content, yeah. Maybe we'll consider that for game 2 here. But I think another thing to consider as well, right, is the fact that here in the Demacia division, we actually have a couple of cat-themed teams. So I think the Cats, for this particular matchup, actually have a little bit of an advantage going into it, Gitano. So don't feel too bad. The Kittens with Mittens and the Spire Cats both play, of course, here in Demacia. So... sometimes the cat just has its day. I think that's the saying, right?
Close. No, we'll give you the cigar anyway.
Close enough. Close enough.
It's an unfair advantage, knowing so much and being all knowing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to count the win for that for my cats. We'll see what ends up happening. I'll still feed them and love them regardless.
Yeah, for sure.
But
for
yeah.
sure.
I think the problem in that game for Spire was halfway through we saw probably a half dozen times of just someone soloing out, extending a little too far out, trying to save a tower, trying to push, and that team is going to collapse every time, and so look, that might be working, but here unfortunately you have to be on the same point, and leaving your team in a 4v5, we saw that time and time again for objectives. It's going to cost you big time.
Yeah, and ultimately the fights just felt like they were played a little bit better by the side of AK Hearts, right? I was a little bit worried. I thought that their composition was, potentially going to be a little bit awkward if Aurelion Sol didn't get really fed, but he got really fed, and Okami played a great game there on the Star Dragon. So props, it was the R5 pick as well, right? Coming in for AK Hearts, really making fantastic use of that counter pick opportunity. And that is going to lead us to our POG discussion here for game number 1, Gitano. I think Okami has a pretty strong case, but the early game had a lot to do with Soccer 25 and Raging just teaming up and finding these picks all over the map to kind of get the game to a point where Okami could carry.
Yeah, they kind of very much wreaked havoc here in Wukong. I remember seeing a 2-0-2 start with that Hydra 2, and we, maybe tilted our head a little bit, but it did work out in their favor, and, for good reason. Being able to come in right at the very end and kind of clean everything up. That mid-early game where they didn't have enough damage, I'm sure we were all kind of looking at that, but once Okami got fed, I think that was the silver lining, and very well played by him, utilizing the abilities and kind of really being that anchor in the team fight. So I'm going to throw my vote to Okami in the mid lane.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I would give mine to Soccer 25 personally. I thought the Wukong setups were really great, but definitely Okami I think is a great choice here as well. Top of those damage charts with 29k, very comfortably. And we'll see what the side of AK Hearts have in store for us here in game 2. We talked to Witch earlier, he was predicting the 2-0, but certainly, I don't think he was predicting it to go the other way in favor of AK Hearts. So we'll see if Shattered Spire can be able to bounce back after suffering their first game loss of the season. Don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, welcome back. A very short break indeed, as our teams wanted to waste no time getting into this next draft. We are, of course, swapping sides. AK Hearts on the blue this time around, picking up that win in Game 1, despite being down 4 bans, Gitano. How about that?
Might be better if I am unmuted here, just in case. I was yelling at my cats, wondering why. Why didn't you tell me to go with the red side here? It is. They did tell me, but I choose to ignore them. We'll see if I end up doing it here at the end of this draft phase as well. A tall order, like you said, 4 bans, but they really rose up to meet that here. And quickly going through more picks and bans here. Some familiar faces out of Spire for the bans.
Yeah, they're going to line up the Kindred and Diana bans. Once again here, Jinx is going to get banned away this time instead of the Malphite that Shattered Spire did ban in game number 1. We do have the Maokai on the B1 here for AK Hearts. Maokai a little bit nerfed on this patch on 14-18, but still relatively strong. Good counter-engaged champ. And we have Jin Amumu, the response from Shattered Spire, Kaisa Volibear to get us caught up here in the draft. Kaisa, another champion that I feel like is just really, really powerful right now, and the fact that she has a couple of different builds she can go towards is obviously really, really great for her as well.
Yeah, and the setup here from the Jin and Mumu, very long range setup with the Jin, with a curtain call too, able to kind of pick off from that range, kind of keep him safe. And Wei also gonna, help that situation as well, kind of blasting half a map away. So a little bit that poke comp that we're seeing from them here. But that Kaisa, yeah, having that universal ability to, you have those standard core items, but you can kind of really choose which way your team wants to go. But this front line again of Folly, Maokai, I don't know if you want to be running into a giant Stormlord and a giant Treant.
Yeah, definitely can be a little bit scary. So we'll have to see how that does end up looking. It seems like the Shattered Spire are going for somewhat of a similar composition, actually, to what they had in game number 1. They've got a ton of long-range damage for themselves so far. They're going to potentially be looking to play for poke once again here, despite the fact that it didn't really work out in the previous game.
Yeah, I think if they clean up that mid game point and maybe a little bit of push pull pressure that they were trying to develop here, and that they would have been just fine because we saw that gold, being very even all the way to that 20-minute mark, and that's when it started to really come down here for them. So if they can kind of clean up that mid game position, they might have a chance here to kind of open the door. But I'm liking the picks already. Camille, a great split push, able to kind of really single out the target. If they can find out the Kaisa and kind of really burst that down with her, that'd be great. And Wei being able to do so much damage. Just I was never a Wei fan. I pick ban that every single time, but now seeing it played and how people are playing this champ, it's quite awesome here. Xerath though, picked out on the other side. So a lot of long range coming out from Hearts now on the other way.
Yeah, interesting. I'm a little bit surprised that you would pick the Xerath into the Camille specifically. But, clearly the call for AK Hearts is they want to try to match what the Shattered Spire have here in terms of that long-range damage, like you're saying, Katana. So they are going to have that option. Kaisa, of course, having the ability to go for the AP build as well. You can just poke from really long range. Would mean they would be very light on physical damage for the AK Hearts, but, they've won with similar compositions before.
Yeah, Mumu right now being the only tank here on the board. So if that's truly the only option that you have, to kind of soak up all the burst that's coming out for the poke, if Kaisa kind of goes towards that AP as well as Xerath, I think we'll take that because you should be able to take out the rest, especially with the Karma. That Mantra Q being able a great lane bully in that aspect, but also not so much to soak up the damage here. So we kind of got a little bit of a sway back and forth here.
Yeah,
I
I think
don't want to
that's
do it. Don't ask me who
really,
to pick at the end of this. Don't do
Oh,
it.
you already know I'm going to, Gitano. There's no escape. But don't worry, we're not there quite yet. But I think you just made a really fantastic point, actually, that I wanted to bounce off of about the fact that there's not really many people on this Shattered Spire draft that are going to be wanting to build resistances, right? It is really just the Amumu, like you said. And he's probably going for the Leandries first anyways, so it's going to be a while before even the Amumu gets to a reasonably tanky place. So I think that could look really good for AK Hearts. And they do have a ton of frontline themselves. And the Maokai, the Volibear, and the jungle, and then Cassante rounding things out in the top lane to match the Camille. So they should, theoretically be able to control space and buy time for those carries to get out the poke. The one thing that I am a little bit concerned about for this AK Hearts squad is just simply the fact that they don't really have Soccer 25 on a carry this time around. Playing the Volibear, you're really powerful, of course, in the early game, but you're going to fall off really hard and basically just be a meat shield for the carries later on. So Soccer 25 really trusting the mid laner and the AD to do the heavy lifting in this one.
Yeah, and I think after that past game, he deserves a little bit of a break. But I think I do like this team, what I call a 3-2. Basically, you got 3 in the front, 2 in the back, and hopefully you're going to play to that front-to-back style here. The only person that's really going to be on you is that Amumu and Camille. So if you can really absorb, both of those, and Camille being so slippery, being able to get to that back line very quickly. But if you have enough chain CC, which, I'm kind of seeing a pretty good amount of hold on here for the Camille, Kaisa also being able to kind of slip away with that invisible passive, get a little bit of reprieve or even hitting the ult just to give her that shield to break up. But Kaisa really liking that short range, being able to burst here. So I'm kind of liking the layout of this, and I think the Xerath will do good here, just as long as the Camille stays about 35 feet away in real life, not on screen.
Right. Yeah, so theoretically they're playing in different physical locations. So yeah, I feel like we should be pretty confident if you're Okami that you're going to be able to physically distance yourself IRL from the Camille player. That should work out okay.
Yeah, I think maybe just send him to the Green Boot Camp, maybe EU, something like that. Just totally swing him to a different server. Out of sight, out of mind type deal.
There you go. And they do have the Maokai can try to keep the Camille in that other server and this sort of thing, and the Cassante as well, right? Very good at yeeting people extremely long distances. So that should work out okay. But I wanted to zoom in a little bit. We've discussed the compositions overall a decent amount this time, Gitano. I wanted to zoom in. The mid lane is pretty standard. Xerath, Wei, they're both farming up. But I want to talk about this top lane a little bit. We have the Cassante locked in into the Camille. Cassante definitely feels to me like he's a little bit more of a pick for the team, right? As opposed to necessarily a pick for the lane. But how do you expect that top lane to really play out?
Yeah. Well, we saw, a lot of pressure towards the mid lane. We saw gank after gank coming there, and they might be shifting that more towards the top side. We're not quite sure, but Cassante being a great team portion, and we've seen great plays come out from Cassante players, really utilizing how the ult works and kind of really, pinballing people all around here. But the Camille, I can't underestimate. If you get a sizable lead and you start taking towers, you can escape halfway across the map before that other, jungler decides to get there or whoever's coming up to help you. So if Spire do get a little bit of lead and Camille starts to spiral out of hand, I'm not sure who you're dragging up there to try to match her, and it could really cause, a lot of damage with that push-pull method here. And now you're in a 4-1, you're dragging more people. Wei and Jid open up the field as well as Karma to kind of poke and just wait and kind of give that time, because you have to answer one way or the other here. So it can go for both sides, but it really depends how that early game really transitions out.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Camille spiraling out of control. I see what you did there, Gitano. Well done. Well played. But yeah, I think that is going to be a really interesting point to watch for me. Sicko Ghost ended up having a pretty comfortable lane. It looked, a little bit dangerous at first for the Tom Kench Sicko Ghost last game, but the Jace didn't really end up having the impact that I think Shattered Spire were really expecting it to have. And we'll have to see if the top laner for Shattered Spire is going to be able to put out a little bit more pressure in the lane this time around on the Camille. But it is that time now, Gitano. The time has come. The Cats going with red side once again here. Cats predicting the 3-gamer for us tonight. What are your thoughts?
I won't do it. I am smarter than the Cats. I refuse. I'm going to Hearts on this one.
I really feel like you should trust the analysis instead of just going against the Cats every time.
All right, I'm switching.
I know you've had a bad track record so far, but you could still turn this around, Gitano.
Oh, all right, I'm switching to Spire. I'm switching to Spire here. I'm listening to the Cats, and if this goes haywire, I will make sure I can grab the Cat for, another game and just set him here, because, the Blue Water fans deserve consistency and not in the losing way, which the Cats will provide, and they will lead you to the promised land.
Still have time to catch up, man. It's all good. But that does mean that my analysts are all aligned on predicting the Shattered Spire to take the win here and bring us to that game number 3. Would be an absolutely massive upset, I think, if AK Hearts pull off the 2-0 tonight. We'll see what unfolds on the Rift as we make our way into game number 2.
You tried to break our will, but you failed.
Okay, Otters, welcome back onto the Rift for our second game of the night. AK Hearts now moving over to blue side after taking the win in game number 1. And Shattered Spire, their first loss of the season, they are now trying their hands at the red side. Any level 1 shenanigans, do we think, Mr. Katano?
It doesn't look like it so far. They tried game 1. Gotta try it. You strike where the iron's hot, but I think now they're just playing a little bit more subtly here.
No
Which,
Nautilus this time around.
yeah, I mean, Karma could, do a flash mantra lane you up.
Yes. Yeah.
It could happen.
You could follow up route with the Jin. Mumu could even take Q if you really wanted.
Camille there too, just kind of wind in and
She could be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think we're all right with the non-level 1 happening. And looks like our junglers are going to be starting on their respective red buffs. As we see Witch move in over towards the top side jungle here. Soccer 25 in the south quadrant.
yeah, standard start here. We'll see where they end up going here. If they try any shenanigans, I imagine the Mumu will do a full clear. Nothing too crazy. The traditional AD carries here for the bot lane. We'll have to take a look and see who hits level 2 here first and who wants to be the aggressor. But this top side, as you mentioned before we started here, we'll see how it goes and kind of turn our attention up there.
Yeah. Looks like level 2 is going to come through for Kaisa and Maokai down here, most likely. It was a pretty close race, but looks like, this last melee minion is going to get that level 2 mark. There it is. And they're going to have the push, at least for this first wave.
Meanwhile, Wei getting poked out here quite a bit here from the Xerath. And having that mana come back, every few seconds, allowing him, or Xerath, to sustain in lane from that volley bear. Looking for me an early gank here on the way.
Yeah, hovering in that line brush in the South River, Soccer 25, thinking about making some kind of move. Volley Bear, another one of those champions where you can just go for these early plays. There's the flash forward arrows, does get out the fear, and the Wei is going to be able to flash away to keep himself safe. As a trade of flashes, Soccer 25 going to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, now you just do a return gank, come from the far side, and he's not really going to have anywhere to go here.
That's right.
Still on beat here with the Amumu, both taking the blue buff and fairly equal timing taking those.
Yeah. Meanwhile, towards the bottom side here, Radiant's Maokai has been chunked out a little bit. We saw some Karma poke connecting. Jin, Boostus able to sneak in a 4th shot there onto the tree as well. There's another Mantra Q for Wanderer. Deadly Flourish, though, not quite going to find the mark. A Radiant's going to be okay for now. Which, of course, on this bottom side of the map as well, on the Amumu, thinking about possibly moving in here towards the spot lane to make some kind of impact. Just going to be content with the crab for now, though.
Yeah, do a little drive-by, clear some vision, get that score up a little bit, and Maokai being able to heal up a little bit with an auto attack here from the minion, but also taking quite a bit of poke here as the flourish also lands.
Absolutely.
Nothing too crazy for starting items either here, coming out pretty standard. Volley Bear gonna pick up that next level here, finishing that camp. We'll see what the Stormlord is opting into. This top side here, a little bit of back and forth. Cassante having a 5 CS lead, nothing too crazy, and kind of that that fight back and forth, but no one.
That 4th shot of the grenade is gonna be the first blood, just like that. Boostus picks it up for Shattered.
Do you have a permit to take down a tree? Did he have that permit? I feel like that was a protected species, and he just went.
Oh man.
Went all out there.
He blew it up too. That's not a very environmentally friendly way to go about it. It's just using grenades to cut down a tree is pretty extreme.
Yeah, definitely more humane way. It's 2024. You can take down that single tree without having any contention. What if there's a squirrel living in there, or Yordles? What if a Yordle was living in there? I don't think they can handle that kind of lawsuit.
Yeah. So Boost is going to have to be a little bit careful here. Going to have to be a little bit more conscientious about how he goes out this whole deforestation process in the bottom lane. But it seems like he's going to be okay with the way things are going so far.
Low setup here in the mid lane. They know Wave's flash is down, but a repeat gank here possibly for the
In comes
Maokai.
Ragent, flashes forward to set this one up. The Bramble Smash backwards as well. Like you said, Arrows, no flash, no way out of that one. Though the kill credit does go to the support, so a little bit unlucky there, but they're going to be able to crash this wave, and Arrows, no TP either. Means he's going to miss out on some of this XP.
No way out of there.
You're
You're
that one's
trying
too
here. I like it though.
It's level 6 now for Sicko Ghost, rather, on the Cassante. Is going to be able to dissuade Witch from doing any kind of move towards this top lane. It's good timing on that level 6 mark for Sicko Ghost. Does still have to expend the Ghost, though, just to make absolutely sure he's going to be okay. Meanwhile, the jungle and support, Soccer25 and Ragent teaming up once again, just like we saw in the previous game. They are going to be able to take down this first cohort of grubs, secure themselves the first neutral of the game. And we have a Chemtech Dragon, once again, to start us off on the other side of the map there. Nobody really feeling like they want to make a move towards that one just yet. Although,
Yeah,
as I said, Witch moving over now.
Little deja vu coming in here. We'll see if that mid game also happens the exact same way here. But I think that dragon is going to go down. That trade that we see so often, objectives being placed back and forth. Maokai here just hanging out just in case you find someone, a strangler. But everyone's kind of on the other side of the map.
Yeah, that's the case for now. Team's pretty happy to just trade those off. And, of course, just one kill on the board for each side as well. As we have only one tier stacking so far in this game for the Kaisa. As that's Raging, and we find the Twisted Advance and the Bramble Smash onto Arrows once again. The Right of the Arcane comes out. One, and there is two. Okami picking up his first kill of the game on the Xerath. 2-1 now in favor of the Hearts. And another wave going to crash here. More golden XP going to be denied from the way.
Yeah, Maokai spending a lot of time here after that objective being taken, waiting for Mumu to appear or something to happen here. But that patience also paying off at the very end here. Wei getting taken down 0 and 2 now. Xerath just popping off 1-0-1. I'm excited to see him get absolutely fed in the mid game and just start, shock blasting people from, or not shock blasting, but the ulting away from half the map,
Yeah, I mean, that's our game 1 POG, of course, as well, at least according to your vote. Okami there on the ASOL before. And a great start to this game number 2 as well. We'll see if that is going to continue for AK Hearts.
And we do see the Lost Chapter coming out from the way. Same thing with the Xerath, but being up a couple of items here. If we look at the gold difference, just a little over 600 gold separates them, so nothing too crazy. Early game, packs a little punch, but when we get to that mid game, it won't matter as much as long as they sustain out here. Team gold difference as well, neck and neck, back and forth.
Okay,
But Mumu,
in comes Witch towards this top lane. The Hextech Ultimatum is going to come out. Sicko Ghost tries to get away, but you cannot get away from the Camille Ultimate. The hook shot. Oh, Synthwave missed the hook shot. The Banish Toss, though, it will connect, and they will be able to take down the Cassante. And once again, the flash forward connecting on the Arrows, who does have the flash, but is not going to use it. Just knows they have his number once again. Really great focus coming out from the Hearts towards the mid lane as they take down the Way for a third time.
yeah, that's got to be super frustrating, having that much pressure at you and losing a lot of waves, but still keeping up really well in CS here. 70-71. I'm going to lose a few minions here towards the tower, but still not a bad job. And towards the top side, Cassante just about getting out there. The Banitosh and Ignite being enough, though, here. 2 minutes for Dragon and less than a minute for Grubs. I imagine we're going to see Rajan, start roaming around again. He's got the ult ready to go here, and we'll see what they can utilize off of it.
Yeah. We shall see. To have those grubs spawning very, very soon, as you say. And would be 6 grubs for the side of AK Hearts if they can secure all of them. We do have Soccer25 on that side of the map right now, and Witch towards the bottom side, finishing up the Gromp at the moment. Looks like Ragin is actually moving back towards this bottom lane. So the Maokai's not going for the rotation right now. Wants to make sure he can defend Florigato down here on the Kaisa. And the Maokai will be in position to do so.
Trades back and forth for this top side. Cassante not getting the best deal out of it, but hopefully going to heal up after the fact here. Does go with the Sheen right away. A little more offensive
interesting.
built here.
That's going to be the Iceborne Gauntlet, almost certainly for Sicko Ghost as the first item. Makes sense, you know, give you some armor into the Camille, and if you do manage to get on top of either the Wei or the Jin, having that slow field can be really, really valuable as well, as a couple more skill shots landing for Okami over there in the mid lane. Eye of Destruction as well as the Arcano Pulse connecting, getting arrows chunked down relatively low. Meanwhile, Soccer 25 is going to be able to secure the grubs as Nature's Grasp in the bottom lane. Going to get the root actually onto 2. His Killer Instinct forward for Florigato. Wander trying to get away. Flashes from the first Zerath Blast, but I don't think Karma was ever getting away from that one. That's kill number 2 now for Okami. They get the objective and the kill. AK Hearts kind of getting everything all over the map right now.
Yeah, they are just kind of picking them apart here, and with that Luden's Echo completion here for him, he is going to be very dangerous, being able to poke out at this distant range, and even before the fights start here, we see Wei half, health already, opting to stay in here. I think a good Q is going to take him down to a third, and we see Soccer 25 being around that area.
Oh, yeah, there's more spells connecting for Okami. The Shocking Orb even for good measure. Oh, Eros, you had Flash. Didn't manage to flash away from the Zerath. He gets stunned up, taken down once again. A solo kill this time for Okami, and you have to feel like there's some mental damage that has been done here to the Shattered Spire mid laner.
Yeah, at this point, you just kind of have to take a deep breath, relax a little bit, and hopefully, let the game come to you instead of the force. We saw that, Eros was back in there, opted to cancel it last second, and maybe paying the price for it here. Dragon going over, and that'll tie things up 1-1 for Dragon side.
Yeah, you could see Witch and Boostus and Wanderer, the bot lane, really wanted to move in there to try to contest, but Okami was able to base and then teleport immediately back to lane. So with the mid control, that was enough for AK Hearts to secure themselves the Dragon. So they got the 6 grubs on top of the Infernal Drake now. Feels really great for him at this point in the game. You got first item completions for Zerath and Kaisa as well, both able to finish off that Ludens, and you can see the damage starting to come through a little bit as Florigato's able to connect a couple of those W's in a row. As Eros in the mid lane is actually getting almost taken down once again there. The Wei just had the flash to survive. Florigato is getting engaged on the Banish Toss, connects for Witch in the bottom lane. They do manage to take down the Kaisa. Raging also going to flash away. The curtain call gets opened up, though. The Maokai sidesteps most of them. That 4th shot is not going to connect. The Maokai will survive. No trees getting cut down this time around. Only Kaisas.
Yeah, if you're going to take out a Voidling, it's okay, but the trees, you really have to go through the council, and they're just not granting permits like they used to, About 5 years ago, who cares? A tree would have been cut and it would have blinked an eye, but here there's safeguards in place, We saw what happened 2 years ago, and I don't think we need to go into detail about that.
Yeah, water levels rising on Summoner's Rift. We really need to make sure that we're taking care of the environment here, and not cutting down any trees that don't need to be cut down. So that is going to be all well and good. Everybody, above board towards the bottom lane there. They did manage to take down the turret, but that's allowed, right? We can fell turrets. There's no real environmental repercussions there.
Yeah, I don't know, how many critters are living inside the tower per se. I don't think it'd be comfortable enough. And I feel like these towers, we can rebuild them. They come back quite a bit here. A tree, how long does a fully grown tree take in order for you to be like, wow, that's a big tree? What are we thinking? 30?
Well, it depends on the level of the tree, Gitano.
True.
Yeah. Okay, Eye of Destruction as Boostus in trouble, gonna get engaged on, flashed on by the Volibear, and Boostus able to survive for a little while, but will get taken down. That Bandage Shot's not going to connect for Witch, but the X-Tech Ultimatum is going to prevent Soccer 25's escape. Raging now in trouble as well. That Bandage Shot is going to find the mark onto the tree. It looks like they're gonna take him down. Do they have the permit? Gitano, Raging, he brambles, smashes him away. The permit, they do manage to get it just in the end, just in the nick of time, as Wander with the mantra there, or with the Q, the Inner Flame, able to slow down Okami, prevent the Xerath from moving over to follow up, and in comes Florigato. The Kai'Sa's teleported into the fray here. Is going to be able to connect to the Prey Seeker. That will allow for the Killer Instinct to come through, and Florigato picks up their first of the game.
Yeah, you may have gotten the permit, but on the back end, the Voiling does not forget about what has happened. As long as we're not in the Inferno era, I think it's maybe okay to cut down a tree, but it just can't be, every single minute you're cutting one down. We just don't have the reproduction use on that, and it's just going to take longer and longer for that tree to spawn back. So I appreciate that they're spacing a little bit in between each one. I do have to mention really quickly the Medjai's coming out of Okami.
Yeah, that is worth mentioning, I think, for sure. 3-0 so far on the Xerath. And if that trend continues, then Okami could be set here for another carry performance similar to what we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, so far doing a really good job at just positioning himself to be safe and really have an impact with the team, especially with that long range, that Arcane, being able to just, scoot down, halfway through the lane and being able to be almost a full-bodied person in that fight has really helped them here. Wei and Kaisa now towards the bot, so they haven't rotated Okami out. They still want to keep him in that melee for pressure here. Less than a minute for Dragon too, so a lot of vision wards going down, trying to nab the advantage here, but I'm sure another fight will break out here very shortly.
Oh, yes. I think that is almost certain. We do have a teleport coming up very soon for Sicko Ghost's Cassante, a little bit longer for Synthwave. So the Camille is going to start hoofing it down here. Join up with the rest of the team for this dragon fight. Currently, we do have AK Hearts with control in the river, but looks like Okami's getting pushed out here. The Xerath is potentially in trouble. Is Flash and try and join up with the rest of the team. Meanwhile, Arrows is going to get taken down by Ragin and Soccer 25, and now Okami able to get behind the front line, and now it is Boostus in trouble. A double kill over to the Bear, which is going to get taken down as well as Florigato flies forward with the Killer Instinct. The rights of the Arcane. One more shot, another kill, another stack, another page in the book for Okami. Synthwave, the last survivor, will be able to hookshot away. Another Prey Seeker connecting actually for Florigato. One more W might be enough, just barely wide right there. Synthwave looks like will survive the dragon. Not going to be so lucky.
Florigato must have watched some Vikings, field goals, just unfortunately wide right. I'm from Minnesota. I can make them jokes. It's Achilles' heel of ours, and it always will be. I'm realistic about our expectations. But Volibear picking up a triple, 5-1-1, and meanwhile Okami being able to get out of there. I thought it was all over. I thought he was going to die, within seconds of the fight, but being able to run back to his team, get safety, and then pick up the karma on the back end of that too. Now 10 stacks on the Medjai's.
Yeah, really clever, honestly, from the Xerath flashing not back towards his base, but towards the rest of the team, right? That's how he was able to survive there, because he was able to join up with the front line, get behind them. They were able to create those battle lines and play the fight out really well. And on the other side, Arrows, unfortunately, a little bit caught out there, a little bit separated from the rest of the squad, right? And they were able to punish the way once again in that last fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a little bit of, like you just said, positioning in the air. If you can fix that, these team fights are going to go a little bit smoother. But overall, the gold as well, you got a 2K difference, per team. So not anything too crazy. Objectives, Baron coming up in 30 seconds. I don't think we're going to see any early takes on that here.
Coming in for Synthwave. I'm not sure what the angle is here. Arrows is moving over as well. Hookshot, not going to go forward with that one, so just kind of a wasted TP, unfortunately, and Sicko Ghost can be able to pick up that top lane tier 1 in the aftermath.
Yeah, a little maybe of a miscommunication there. They thought they had the opportunity to go in, but with nothing really to fight around, they just casually walk away. Rift Herald being used here. We'll see if anyone tries to scoop that up and grab a little bit of damage, but that would be a dangerous order here as we see four kind of
Oh, look
crowding
at the
around just
arcane
in
once
case.
again. Boost us in trouble. The shots connect. The Jin barely will survive with enough movement speed there to get away from that last shot. Yeah, Destruction once again slows down the way. The Sky Splitter as well, at least for the side of Shattered Spire. They were able to prevent Shelly from getting that charge into the tier 2. But still, it is the side of AK Hearts putting on the pressure here in mid lane.
Yeah, the utilization by Kaisa and Okami here, Forgato, and just doing a great job of poking out the team, making sure there is no engage. And if they decide to, you're definitely going to have 2 to 3 people at that half health bar. But an early Baron here,
Hey.
I did not think this was going to happen, but I mean, they're taking it.
I mean,
quite
no
fast.
vision right now for Shattered Spire, but they do have an idea that this is going on. The teleport coming in right now from Arrows. Last game, the Baron take was very controlled for AK Hearts, but this time it might be a little bit more difficult to keep Mumu out of the pit. And it looks like they will, I think, wisely back away from this one. Just not enough control to go for the Baron right now.
Yeah, Xerath being a little low on that mana as well. That Baron shredding them at that 20-minute mark. Unless you are comfortably with 3 items for multiple people, it is not an easy take here. I respect them for trying to sneak it away, but unfortunately, there's no veil for them to take it under. Jin, 4-shot, trying to get that tower down.
Like they will get it.
Pinking it up.
That is going to be the second turret of the game, secured by Shattered Spire. And we do have our next dragon spawning in just about 90 seconds. So that looks really funny. The hookshot denied there by the Q3 from the Cassante. And Sicko Ghost just going to pull out the Antofos and take him down.
What a play there. And that's why I love to see good Cassante players. They put on a click and a show. 4-0 was Camille Triforce already happening there. They had the team ad and just doesn't matter. I got you right where I want you. Have fun underneath the tower. Good luck.
Big shutdown, big swing in the side lane there in favor of AK Hearts. And Synthwave not going to have teleport, I don't think, for this dragon spawn as well. So we'll see how much the side of Shattered Spire want to commit for this one. I mean, it's a Mountain Soul once again here, Gitano. And again, it would be incredibly powerful for the hands of AK Hearts if they do manage to secure it.
Yeah, you got that 3-2 front line like I was saying before, and it just gets worse and worse for them if they end up giving up this next one, putting the pressure on their necks, and they can for surely trade a Dragon then for the Baron, after that mark, if it's not taken already with that lead here. Xerath doing a great job of poking out everyone before these fights even started. Once again, Forgato being able to poke out as well, and a Mumu trying to go for blue here.
Yep, they're going to find the poor little mummy. He is going to remain without any friends. He finds himself all alone in the death chamber just seconds before the dragon spawns.
I wonder who's more sad, the mummy or my prediction score. I feel like I understand his pain,
At least the cats were wrong too this time, assuming that AK Hearts can close this one out. As right of the Arcane is going to come out, the Nature's Grasp is going to lock him down. There is the beautiful combo, though actually Xerath ran out of ammo there, so lucky for Wanderer to be alive. And the Dragon will go over in the meantime, as Cassante is going to continue existing in the top lane.
Yeah, just keep putting that pressure on, making sure that Camille isn't going to get out of control, no free farm. And it's kind of a tall order to say, hey, stick with her no matter where she goes and just stay there for 25 minutes. It's not what you want to do, but you're also doing, the hard work, the begrudging work on that back end.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's been a great game for pretty much everybody over here on the side of AK Hearts so far. They have been working together exceptionally well. And it's so crazy, man. I mean, I don't actually remember if I mentioned this earlier on, Gitano, but Witch made a comment during Otter Talk where he actually said that he was thinking that maybe they could actually go the entire round robin without dropping a single game.
Wow.
He said that, and then maybe ended up cursing his team a little bit because they are on the verge of losing 2 games now in a single night.
Maybe it was the start after tonight, Like, did he say exact points in time, like, tonight is when we start that? Or did he just make the proclamation of, we will not be losing a game?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he gave himself that wiggle room. I do think it was a sort of a miscall, unfortunately, for which...
I'll take a look at the contract. There might be some fine.
Yeah. Review the VOD,
underneath,
Yeah.
It's an app on your Play Store, and you just have to agree to the terms, even though you have no idea what you've agreed to. It's the
Oh God.
the curse of everyone of just give me the app. I'll agree. Take my soul. I want chicken nuggets. Just let's do this trade.
Yeah. I mean, it's oh man, it took us a while to get our first food metaphor of the night, but there it is.
Yeah, way to go. I ruined it. This is why we can't have nice things.
U3 in the top lane, as Sicko Ghost is going to go all out, denies the hookshot once again. The Hexacle Man is going to call out, teleport coming in, the Volibear dives for it, but the top laner has already been taken down. This could be a little bit disjointed for AK Hearts, but the damage starting to come through from the Xerath. The carry still managing to stay safe for now. A nice shocking orb to deny Witch's advance. Still a couple of shutdowns going over as Raging now is going to have to flash away from that bandage toss. Trade of flashes between the Maokai and the Amumu. And it was a 2-for-2 overall. As I actually didn't quite see how Arrows died there, but the way was taken down with as well as Wanderer getting tagged there by the Arcane. The flash forward, Okami connects on all of the abilities. Another kill going over to the Xerath. Boost is trying to turn it around. Has the 4-shot in the chamber, is not going to get the chance to fire it. Jhin is going to be a beautiful piece of art as he lays on the ground.
Yeah, Maokai taking the revenge. You may be able to chop me down once or twice, but I don't need a permit to take you down.
That's right. Trees, famously, don't care about bureaucracy.
They'll get their revenge. It does not matter. But Baron being started here for them.
Yeah, this is, I think, a much more... it's a much better opportunity, rather, for the side of AK Hearts this time around. As they are waiting for their... Oh, yeah, Soccer 25 is here, so Volibear is going to be able to help burn this one down. That's going to be Bramble Smash for the killers over the wall. Florigato looking for the kill onto the mid laner once again, but Witch comes in with the bandage toss, and now the Kaisa is the one in trouble. The Hexa cultivated forward. They take down Florigato's Kaisa. Now there's not enough damage for AK Hearts to finish the Baron. The Red of the Arcane does come out. The interruption, though, comes through from Synthwave as the Camille hookshots forward, who gets immediately popped there. But now Witch trying to chase down Okami. The Xerath, his first death of the game, will come through. Finally, Okami gets shut down. It is going to be a wipe, the 5-for-2, and Shattered Spire, Signs of Life.
What a play there. Utilizing the range and the Baron pit around them. Amumu finding a great grasp there onto the Kaisa and being able to kind of, back that fight up. Maokai going over already, dangling himself out there, but I think as soon as the Kaisa came over, there just was not enough time for them to run around. They were still on the Baron. They have to protect Okami as well and kind of put themselves in a very dangerous spot. And that is Baron going over. 30 seconds for Dragon. Soul point, though, for Hearts. If they can get a lane push, maybe grab an advantage here. But they're going to be a little late to the start of this Dragon.
Yeah. I mean, I think that last Baron call, it would have been okay if they were all on the same page, right? The fact that just 2 of them went over the wall meant that the fight didn't end up working out in their favor. They didn't have enough DPS to finish the Baron either. So a moment of, lacking coordination there for AK Hearts, costing them potentially pretty big. Now Baron online for Shattered Spire. They're going to be able to get complete control over the mid lane and move into the river here if they would like to. And it looks like that will be the call. Look to try to deny this Dragon from going over. Soccer 25 has ult and flash on cooldown at the moment. That ultimate for the Volibear is going to be coming back in about 15 seconds, so is going to have that available soon. That is something that the Shattered Spire have to be really wary of, which is going to look for the bandage toss, not going to find it there onto Sicko Ghost Cassante. And now the poke can start to come out. The longer that Shattered Spire take to start the objective, the more at risk they are of getting poked out by the Xerath and the AP Kaisa, who are both very strong at this point in the game. They are going to start up the Dragon now. It's getting burned down to about 50%. The poke not really coming through. So the objective, it will go over. The soul will be denied. But a lot of damage coming out there onto Wanderers. Karma is going to have to retreat, but Synthwave on the flank. Camille trying to get in, and that's a Banish Trust connects directly onto the Xerath. Okami in trouble, but the turnaround, Soccer25 jumps forward, takes down the Karma, but the Xerath, the most fed member, been taken down. Florigato now has to be the one to carry the fight. Synthwave tries to hookshot forward. Killer Instinct in, and he takes down the wave. Florigato in the clutch makes it happen, but it was too close to the Camille. Synthwave manages to take down the Kaisa. Very intense fight. It will be a 4-for-3, just barely. AK Hearts win it out.
Yeah, Baron off the table now, basically, for them as a great team fight back and forth. Poe coming down, but just not enough of it in order to really impact the fight. They hold off Dragon Soul here for another 4 minutes now. At least, what a fight back and forth. That Killer Instinct to go over the wall, trust himself, nab the kill, tries to pick up the final ace here on Camille, but unfortunately not able to find purchase.
Yeah, just unfortunately walking a little bit too close to the scissor legs there. And did end up getting taken down by Synthwave, who's also very strong, right? 3 items done, level 16 for the Camille. So Synthwave is an absolute menace as well. Everybody is really online at this point in the game, except for the poor Volibear, who doesn't really get to do too much anymore. You know, actually ended up having a reasonable impact in that fight, who kind of dove forward and was able to finish off the Karma. But I do feel like Soccer25 has to be really careful here. I feel like the main job for the Bear at this point in the game really has to be just peeling. You have to be standing in front of the carries. The fact that Witch was able to get that bandage toss directly onto Okami's Xerath, basically at the start of that last fight, I mean, that shouldn't be allowed, right? You have to be standing in front of your Xerath at all times. You can't be giving Witch that easy of an angle.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They kind of just parted the Red Sea there. We saw everyone, unfortunately, split the wave, and Mumu, who's just right there going, I mean, if you're going to give me a free one, I'll take it, and starts the fight. But to recall what you said, too, Volibear did a great job of making sure the 4th shot, the curtain call wasn't opening up. Karma had to go back, too, so a little bit of disruption, which in itself really does help the fight, but I agree you should be sticking next to the Xerath here, 5-2 and 11. And we see Kaisa, the score 4, 3, and 5. It doesn't look great, but the plays that I've seen out of Fergato have been amazing on these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, both of the carries have been playing pretty well this game, and the side of AK Hearts are still in a great position here. They're still on Soul Point. Another dragon is spawning in just a couple of minutes. They're going to have another crack at it. So we'll see if they can set themselves up a little bit better this time around. Probably just play for that instead of looking to, go for the Baron. I feel like playing for the Soul is the safer option, but we'll see what they go for. We're on the top side of the map right now.
Yeah, they're hovering kind of towards that thing, and we can give up one more dragon here if needed. We'll see if that is what they end up doing, or if they end up picking a fight, kind of running down and start taking them out here. The Magi stacks on the Xerath down to 6 now. So, was around those double digits, so a little bit of power dissuade from them, but Camille, kind of alone here with no help, decides to back off.
Yeah. And it really feels like, and with all this vision getting put down, it really feels like the side of AK Hearts, they want to play for the Baron. So we'll see if they can set it up a little bit better this time around. But, everybody is really powerful now on the side of Shattered Spire as well. And they clearly are ready for this Baron start to come through. They're also waiting sort of in the area here. Soccer25 going to move forward, going to push them back out of this red buff brush.
Yeah, good job of moving as a group, being able to kind of be everywhere and help out and pinch if needed. The gold lead here, less than 1,000 as well at 34 minutes. So very, very tight game. Just one fight will probably be deciding this. Death timers have to be up there in 30, 40 seconds here. Grab the Baron off the back of it. You're going to have enough pressure here to run it down.
Synthwave actually teleported into the bottom lane. It's going to get the teleport out from Sicko Ghost now. And now the Camille moving back up to join up with the rest of the team. So kind of pulling the hearts across the map at the moment. Nice little move there from the Spire top laner. And now Shattered Spire have control over whichever objective they would like to go for, kind of forcing those recalls to come out from AK Hearts. gathered around the dragon at the moment. This would be a soul point for them now, for Shattered Spire, if they get this next mountain dragon. It's the poke starting to connect a little bit, but Sicko Ghost getting chunked down as well by Boostus' Jhin.
Yeah, a little bit of push and pull method here, trying to grab their own damage, but Xerath on the back end being able to hit these and really just causing them damage here. Cassante maybe grabbing a little bit more. Nope, Camille is not going to go in here, and they are just dancing around this objective, which I think is good for them. The Xerath and, you know, Kai'Sa's able to poke out quite a bit here, as you can see health bars kind of getting towards that half health mark.
Yeah, arrows chunked down pretty low there. Everybody pretty much has flashes, of course, except for the top laners, of course, who didn't take it into the game. That's going to be the flash out from Okami. Some mind games at work there. Synthwave gets a very big summoners. Xerath is separated from the team right now. Okami, what are you doing over there by yourself? The Volibear goes over the wall to try and save, but the mid laner is just going to get assassinated right at the start of the fight. The Cassandre does take Witch over the wall, but the Volibear has also left the pit. The dragon is anyone's to claim. Synthwave is trying to get it done in there. They take down the Volibear. The deaths start to come through, and it will be the Shattered Spire absolutely annihilating their opponents in the team fight. It's the clean ace, the 5-0, and they might just push down the mid lane.
Yeah, with these death timers, 30 seconds is plenty of time, and you have damage coming in there as well as minions to help you. No need to dance with Baron here if you can just end it straight out. Unfortunately, Okami just being caught out there, using the flash, you know, Camille doing that little feint of if I'm coming in or not, and then unfortunately kind of sticking around the area with too long and no help over the wall.
They had a great start to the game for AK Hearts. They really had put themselves in such a great position, but then it was the positioning at the end of the game there in those last couple of team fights that ended up costing them everything. And Shattered Spire, with the discipline down the stretch, able to bring us to that game number 3.
Yeah, great job of just being patient. I mean, that Dragon Dance was, you know, at least 30 seconds to a minute long of them kind of rotating, giving pressure, you know, little push and pull, but that Camille feint, just making sure Xerath had to respect it, and then sitting in that bush. He thought the rest of the team was going to head towards the dragon, but unfortunately they kept sniffing him out, and Camille was not done with him by any means. Volibear going over the pit, trying to help, but, you know, leaving the dragon there up for grabs, and unfortunately just a sway back and forth, not able to pull the trigger. A couple of risky Baron plays and team fights for him kind of spelled disaster.
Yeah, it's just AK Hearts kind of falling at the last hurdle, not able to close this one out. Shattered Spire able to come back, better team fighting in the end. They're, you know, able to catch out Okami there, and that was kind of the moment where things really fell into place for them. You know, there was the Baron contest earlier on that kind of kept them in the game for long enough. And yeah, just able to position better in the end, get the fights when it really mattered. But who's our game 2 POG, Katana? What do you think? I mean, Synthwave kind of had a huge hand to play in those kind of last couple of plays. The teleport to the bot lane to force the recalls from AK Hearts, and then was obviously the one to catch out Okami as well. Is that what you're thinking, or where's your head at?
Yep, I am exactly there too. Without the feint blowing this area, and then, you know, also shoving them down the bot lane, kind of guiding where they have to go and respond to. You know, throughout the entirety of the match, being consistent. You know, a good hot start. We saw the 4-0. You lost one to Cassante underneath tower at a great play there, but unfortunately at the very end, it just doesn't roll their way.
Absolutely. So Shattered Spire, the team that most players in the division really, you know, considered to be almost, you know, a surefire for that first place spot in the group, are going to have the chance now to keep at least the undefeated match streak alive. We'll see if they can do it, guys, as we go into a quick break and then into the draft for the deciding Game 3. Okay, everybody, welcome to our Game 3 Champion Select. Shattered Spire now back over to the blue side. AK Hearts back onto the red for this final game of the night. AK Hearts, they were in a great position there in that second game, on the verge of the 2-0 Gitano, but not quite able to make it happen.
Yeah, they got Okami really fed there, but unfortunately they were just unable to rotate and kind of pick up what they needed here, utilizing the poke, but not able to kind of siege in that aspect then as well for that trade. We'll see what ends up happening here, or adjustments that are made. Just a couple of team fights and decisions around the Baron Pit and the Dragon, unfortunately, led to that game 2 loss here. But we'll see if they can pick themselves up here as we see, some more familiar bands coming out here from Spire.
Yeah, going for the Caitlyn ban this time around. I think this is Caitlyn's first appearance in the drafts tonight, as it is going to end up being Jinx on the B1 for Shattered Spire, Zerion response. So a couple of hyper carries, some different looks than what we've seen in the bottom lane so far tonight. And now we just have to see which squad is going to be able to build a better draft around their hyper carry ADCs. Both ADCs, I feel like, have had pretty strong performances on the Rift so far tonight as well. So I think, both teams are also going to be relatively happy to play around these guys for this game number 3.
Yeah, I think we're going to see less poke and more just a team fight coming out of both. It's still very on. We could be seeing that, but the way that the fights have been going, get that beefy front line, and maybe we'll get another recall of the Mountain Drake being the sole point again for the third game. And that's really impacting these games when you don't have a front line, or if you are outmatching the front line, as we've seen quite a bit here, just being able to kind of step up, take those shots, and, adjust. But Sona being picked up here. From Spire.
Yeah, definitely an interesting choice. Not a common pairing that we see alongside the Jinx, but I feel like, we have seen a little bit of Sona recently, and perhaps the champion has slept on a little bit. We'll see how it looks in this game. As Spire likely didn't go for their jungle lock-in here, you'd have to imagine. Let's see what we are going to have in the hands of which this time around. Game 2, of course, it was the Amumu, which having a pretty good game on the Amumu, found a couple of really big picks onto priority members.
And Olaf was that third pick. It was not shown up on the Spire. They were trying to lock it in, but not quite in time here.
Oh, wow.
So, a little disruption on the back line.
Another little fun tidbit from Otter Talk tonight, Gitano, is which is actually a self-described Olaf merchant. So this is definitely going to be some comfort coming through for the Shattered Spire jungler. I'm excited to see him in action. The Mordekaiser in response. This is a pick that I feel like has seen a ton of success, at least here in the Emerald League so far this season. And it's really interesting to see it picked now into the Olaf. How times change, right?
Yeah, you used to never see these two matched up, or at least willingly. But with the Mordekaiser changes and with the success of seeing him too, it's the Death Shadow Realm is always fun when you're an AD carry. You're just hoping and praying that Mord uses it before he looks in your direction here. Gwen getting picked out here. Do you think that Olaf, that's going topside, correct?
Sorry, what's going topside?
The Olaf pick for Spire.
Oh, no, it's almost certainly a jungle Olaf.
Jungle? Okay.
Almost certainly, yeah.
Okay. All right. Just in case, I was like, why the Gwen? But now that makes sense. My brain's getting fried. My cats are talking to my ear.
Of course,
blue, 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 blue. And I'm like, I get it. I'll go with you on this time.
Yeah, thank you for the reminder there, Gitano. Yes, Cat's going for the Shattered Spire prediction here for game number 3. Predicting them to take the 2-1 here in the back half of the match. But yes, Gwen, of course,
perfect with that pick.
There's a chance. There is absolutely a chance, right? I mean, the Cat. We already knew that they're very talented and intelligent analysts, right? We've discussed this at some length already, so I don't think it's really too much of a surprise. So we're gonna see the Sejuani come through here for AK. Oh, Sejuani into Olaf Gitano. I don't love it.
There's something to be said about. I'm not sure if it's good things. Both cold-hearted, frailured picks here, but you really can't slow him down as he's running, you know, after you. And I'm
No.
not sure who they're trying to pick out of this with the
Wow.
Olaf, because there's nothing really to stop him once he wants to Ragnarok and start running into a target.
The Darius pick feels really powerful too. I mean, you see all of these melee champions on the other side, and the Mordekaiser and the Poppy in particular can have a really tough time actually getting away from the Darius if he does get on top of them. And there's the Talia is going to come through as the mid lane pick for Eros. Eros having a pretty rough time in that game number 2. Really got focused heavily by the Hearts in the early game. But the Talia, I do believe, is going to be a comfort pick there as well. See if I can find those stats for us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
most
Darius
played is the
pick.
Talia, 18 games this season,
Oh, wow.
72% win rate for Eros.
Not bad, and you might as well pick that out here in the game 3 when it really does count. Vex on the other side, once again having that range, being able to fear and kind of CC before the team fights even start. So we'll see if Okami can pull it out here in the middle and have a repeat. You know, depending on the junglers. The junglers have been very active as well as the supports kind of roaming around here. I don't see Sona running around as much as Poppy, you know, especially if Poppy goes that
True.
dead man's plate right away, can really zoom around and start making those plays. But I'd be interested to see how this Darius takes off. You know, if the Darius gets ahead, we could see, you know, Dunk Master Darius just light people up. That's the skin I'm calling. I know I said I wouldn't call it skin for the game, but I'm hoping, just hoping, it's Dunk Master Darius.
Yeah, Synthwave on the Darius this time is definitely very interesting. You know, Synthwave on the Camille last game, for the most part, had a really comfortable lane up there against the Cassante. You know, wasn't necessarily getting a lot of solo kills or anything like that, but had a lot of control. Was able to go for a lot of rotations and you know, movements across the map, and found a good amount of success there. You know, there were a couple of moments where Sicko Ghost was able to strike back, and even, you know, there was that one solo kill that he was able to pick up onto Synthwave's Camille. But overall, yeah, I think this Darius pick is looking really threatening. Synthwave looking to have another great lane phase up there. The Vex on the R5 is really, really interesting. It doesn't really, I feel like, align super well with the sort of team fighting identity that it felt like the Hearts were putting together. But how do you feel, Gitano, about that Vex option into the Talia?
I mean, in lane it might go great, but in that team fight, as you just stated, I'm not sure how well it's going to fit into this. I was hoping for something with a little bit more consistent damage, didn't need to charge up building, and depending, you know, if you're utilizing the ult in the right fashion and the timing on that as well here. So we'll kind of see how that, you know, early game pans out for them and where these junglers decide to target. So, you know, Talia being able to just shove down, you know, a certain lane and being able to ride the wave down there, pick up a nice kill, and come right back with a TP might be, you know, something we're going to see here and utilize in the early game.
Yeah, absolutely could come through. We'll have to see, you know, if there is going to be some success there for Vex on the R5. But what do you feel about these compositions overall? You know, so the Hearts, obviously they're going for a little bit of a wrinkle here with the Vex, you know, to round things out. Shattered Spire, on the other hand, you know, they feel like they have, you know, not necessarily a stereotypical team fighting comp either. You know, the Jinx has a little bit of front line with the Olaf and the Darius, but both of those guys are going to want to be playing pretty aggressively, probably in the team fights, right? Not necessarily appealing for the Jinx. So, how do you feel like Shattered Spire in particular are going to want to play this one out once we do get towards those team fights, like we saw them be so critical in deciding the outcome of the previous game?
I think they're going to be just fine. Olaf's going to cause enough disruption in the backside, and they're really going to have to peel that Zeri away, you know, that Olaf away from the Zeri as fast as they can, or the Vex onto that matter too. And that really opens up everyone to move forward. You know, Talia not having great range right away, but once she gets a hold of you and kind of knocks you back. Same thing with the Darius. He wants to run in and start that fight. And if you're always on that back foot, he is going to be chasing you down. And if he gets a hold of you, unfortunately, that's going to be all it's worth here. So Sona in the back, keep them healed up nice and full, and that crescendo, if you're finding multiple targets to find that fight right away, that's going to spell disaster. And that Jinx, that late game dominant hyper carry, shoot the rockets, cause the chaos, maybe snipe someone from half the map away if you can in the beginning, set yourself up for that mid game. But I'm really liking Spire's comp.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they say the best defense is a good offense, right? So if
Yes.
the Darius and the Olaf are going to be able to dive into that backline and create that chaos, that should create all the space that Jinx needs, right, to really pop off in the fights. Shattered Spire with the momentum, of course, as well, getting the better end of those team fights at the end of the previous game could look really, really good for them. The only other big question that I have for us, Gitano, before we get into your favorite part of the draft discussion, is what we're going to be seeing from this Poppy. You kind of briefly touched on this earlier on, the fact that we could potentially see Poppy go for some early roams away from the bot lane. Zeri is definitely one of those characters that can be relatively self-sufficient and safe on her own, right? So is that something that you're expecting to see from the Poppy in this game? And if so, how, where do you think she's headed?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big factor. I think Poppy's going to leave Zuri alone, grab the levels that way, get yourself an advantage, being able to see a center tower correctly and kind of showing up when needed, but still granting that vision that is going to allow Zuri that vision to make sure I need to play safe at these points. But you put it into Dead Man's Plate, they're already rotating to these objectives very early. Grubs being taken almost on spawn every single time. It's the trend throughout the entire first 2 games, and I think on the third it's going to happen too. So either Sona's going to have to try to match that or really kind of be a bully in lane here for the Zuri, but I'm not sure how well that's going to work for her.
All right. So yeah, we'll have to see. I think Sona going for the roams is definitely something that we don't see too often, and definitely could be really dangerous, especially into champions with such great pick potential like Vex and Sejuani, right? So that is going to be really interesting to track. I do actually have a quick shout out here, Gitana, if you don't mind.
Yeah, by all means.
I'm actually casting in person at a video game lounge, as you may have noticed. All of our viewers may have noticed, and there's a gentleman here who had some tickets. He wanted me to shout out here. There's an event happening here in Chicago for anyone watching who may live in or around the city. It's HeroCon, video game convention at Cine City Studios. It's happening on the 27th and the 28th of this month. So it sounds really cool, guys. I have a QR code, I guess, here as well that I'll just hold up in front of the camera for a moment there. So I guess you guys can't really see that. I don't know if that's useful or not, but there you go. Video game convention HeroCon, Cine City Studios, 27th and 28th of September this month here in Chicago. So go ahead and check that out, guys, if that sounds interesting to you. Any Chicago locals out there? And Gitano, I gave you a couple of extra minutes to think about your prediction here. So where are we going for this deciding game number 3? Are you aligning with the Cats, with the Shattered Spire Pred, or do you think the AK Hearts are going to be able to bounce back? And they've been winning for most of the night, right? It just kind of all fell apart at the very end of that last game for them.
I think I'm going to go to Applebee's. Get a 2 for 20 appetizer, maybe get a perfect margarita and then off to bed. That's going to be my prediction. I'm dancing around as much as I can. I'm going to go with the Cats. Give me Spire. I like the Olaf pick. I like the Dunkmaster Darius. I hope that's a skin. If I don't see the Dunkmaster Darius, I'll be kind of regretful in my decision, but it's fine. I'm not going to be, too upset over the skin.
We'll have to see. This game sounds like it all hinges on skin choice for Synthwave's Darius. So
it does.
We shall see very soon what that skin choice is going to be. Guys, don't go anywhere. Game number 3 coming at you right after this. Okay, Blue Otter fans, welcome to our third and final game of the night. Shattered Spire back on the blue side, AK Hearts back on the red, where they were able to find success back in game number 1. Will they be able to make it happen once again and upset everyone's expectations here in the Demacia division?
Yeah, we'll see if that ends up happening. I'm expecting the mid lane performance and the ganks to come all over again, as it has been repeat, repeat, repeat here. The skin choice of Darius, I am taking the L on that, but I think it's made up with the Brolov skin, that which is sporting here. Not bringing the ghost though, but Flash, it could be used just as wisely.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see Witch getting some good value out of the Flash this game. You know, Olaf is a champion with no dashes. Sometimes you just need to get over walls, right? And Ghost doesn't really allow you to do that. So, could work out for him. We'll have to wait and see. As looks like the side of AK Hearts are thinking about going for a delayed invade here. They are going to commit for it, and they're going to find Witch on the red buff. And Witch completely unsuspecting. Oh no, Raijin! No! You had him! You had it! Oh my god. Oh, back to you, Gitano.
And it looks like a 60-minute game. Everyone buckle in.
Oh, actually, the flash away. Is it going to be enough? The permafrost, the auto attack. It will still be the first blood and the successful red buff heist for AK Hearts, but they are going to get their Sejuani taken down in the end. Raijin on a blinking health bar will flash away, barely stays alive. Okami now getting chunked down. The rock start to connect. The Vex finds 2 with the fear. The charge comes back off cooldown. They take down Boostus, but now it's Raijin who's going to be traded back. The Soda now, barely. It's going to be Floragato getting that last hit. A double kill and a flash away for the Zeri. Oh, the red buff burn. The health potion will keep the Zeri alive. Super intense level 1 fight there. Just barely. It's going to be AK Hearts getting one better.
What a fight. Back and forth this goes. Mid lane 2-0, Zuri 2-0. Grabbing the call here. And this is something you see just when you want to be a little cheesy, but game 3 might as well pull out the stops and really get ahead. And unfortunately, Olaf just not suspecting that's going to happen, but Poppy, unfortunately, missing the stun up against the wall, really causing that fight to be a lot longer than what you wanted.
Yeah, seriously. You don't often see someone miss a point and click, but it happens. It happens. So, oh, a nice steal away there on a little chicken for Raijin. So, that's something.
That's Roman already here in 3 minutes in. Just does not want to be in lane, still level 1 here. Trying to give Zuri...
Hail of Blades on the Poppy. Thoughts, Katana?
Oh. Interesting. We'll go with that route of
okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a very interesting game that we have already on our hands here. As that's going to be the apprehend. Sicko Ghost potentially in trouble here. Will he decide to go for the flash? He will. I don't think it's going to save him, as that last auto attack is going to come through, and it is going to be Synthwave picking up the first kill in the top lane. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Okami and Saka25 able to team up and take down Arrows. So continuing what they were able to accomplish in the early game of game number 2.
Yeah, low repeat back and forth, eating out the gold here for the mid. Also, knowing starting on the Dark Seal for Okami as well here. Jungler's being very active. I don't expect that to go any differently here. In the foreseeable future. We do have Chemtech Dragon once again popping up.
Yeah, 3 games in a row.
Are we going to see Mountain again? That's the big question.
I'd say it's guaranteed, isn't it? There's no escape. Run from it, hide from it. Mountain Soul comes all the same. And yeah, it's
inevitable.
It is. It feels that way. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing that early trade of the neutrals as well. We'll have to see who ends up going for what, though. I do feel like, the Grubs may be a little bit more value for the Shattered Spire once again with the Darius, as well as the Olaf. It's another skill shot landing for Okami. Really doing so well in the 1v1. One more Mistral Bolt. That one not quite going to find the mark. Eros okay for now, but the Talia so low on HP. Already used the teleport as well. Eros continuing to struggle here in the lane.
Yeah, Okami just doing so great, having that lane pressure, and with the red buff too, just adding a little extra on top of it here. So great pressure. Sejuani sticking around there, granting them vision, and you see Vex kind of always hovering towards that bot side where they have vision just in case. Flash though, or Hextech from
Ooh,
Poppy,
some flame
trying to look
chompers
for
cutting off the
things.
escape path. Good heads up movement there from Raijin to dodge away from the CC. Zap going to connect though, and so will the Undertow. Poppy, no flash. Raijin, no way out. Wanderer actually going to be the one to pick up the last hit. And we're all tied up now 4-4 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, Sona here just saying, let me carry here. You can just take the back seat. Let me see what I can do here. Jinx still picking up the assist. 0, 1, and 3. You know, a couple of biscuits in hand, a pot, you know, just an assist machine here. You are the support for right now.
Oh. So we've calmed down quite a bit since those level 1 shenanigans. We do have a Dragon start coming out from Soccer 25 now. Going to be able to clear out that ward. So knows that they know that he knows that he's taking the Dragon. And that's going to be totally fine.
I know that you know that he knows what's going on.
Okay, a flash out of the bush. Raijin trying to assist in the focusing. Oh, that's the Shadow Surge connecting arrows. Oh, but the rocks, Okami, barely gets away from the turret. Doesn't take that last turret shot, and it will be a kill in the mid lane as Vex getting the last hit on that one. Once again, and Eros continuing to just be punished. It seems like the entirety of AK Hearts are just focusing the mid laner.
Yeah, they are really putting the pressure down, and now they're looking towards the jungle. Sona popped out. You talked about this earlier about her vulnerability.
Yeah, Wanderer is going to be able to flash away and stay alive. Very, very close for Soccer and Raijin to be able to get that Sejuani Permafrost passive stacked up, but not quite able to do it thanks to that flash away. And that's, I feel like, the biggest point of power that we've seen all night. The most consistent strength for this AK Hearts roster is Soccer 25 and Raijin teaming up and making stuff happen around the map. Love to see them at it once again here in Game 3.
Yeah, they've been consistent, and they've had success with it multiple times. You know, they're either grabbing a flash, they're, you know, utilizing, you know, their aggressiveness and being able to catch someone out, or straight up getting a double kill for their effort. So I love to see this roam squad of those two.
Yeah, absolutely. The wave crashing right now as Boostus and Wanderer are able to push that one in. Raijin's going to be stuck down here for the moment, helping Florigato clear this one out. We'll be able to do so.
And we got the call as well from Zeri, so just happy to kind of be passive here. 2-0 early from the start. No need to do anything fancy here. Boots on the Poppy as well. Just really isolating everyone as she is needed here. Olaf, though, flashing.
Yeah, Okami flashes away. Ooh. Cannot quite sidestep the seismic shove, and Olaf charges forward, brings down the axe, cuts out off the head of the little Vex. And that is going to be a first on the board now for Witch. Synthwave continuing to put the pressure up in the top lane. 1 level advantage right now over the Mordekaiser.
How many hands does Olaf have? He's got 3 swords on him. How's he holding them all?
You know, maybe he's good at juggling. You know, where you kind of toss him, and you know,
tossing
you only have to
while running. Oh.
He could be very talented.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly able to make that play happen. So I think there's maybe something there. But,
maybe taking some notes from Darius's brother on how to jungle axes.
True. They are on the same team, so I think that makes sense as well. As that was very cheeky from Raijin, just trying to scout out what the Olaf is up to. Only level 5 still on the Poppy. That's the cost when you go for a lot of these roams, right? As you end up falling behind a little bit in experience.
Oh, no.
As here comes the Poppy once again. Charges over the rocks. Arrows in trouble. Arrows taken down once again. The focus continues onto the hapless mid laner for Shattered Spire. Just getting focused once again here in the mid lane.
It is time and time again. You see the ward vision too around this Vex, just keeping her safe at all costs, being able to be aggressive, and the team backing Okami up
Yeah.
just allows that mid game to really open and shine here.
Oh, Boost is a little bit far forward here, getting ganked. There comes Soccer and Raging once again. The dynamic duo for AK Hearts. They make it happen. They punish the overextended Jinx. And they're pulling ahead a little bit, a little over a 1,000 gold lead in favor of the Hearts.
I imagine those two, like when they first became a roster, just stepbrothered, like, did we just become best friends? Yep. And then that's what they've been ever since, as
Wholesome.
they might be the Brothers of Destruction, the new Brothers of Destruction here.
Okay,
Fight
another fight
going
breaking
on
out in
here.
the top side river as Olaf's going to go into the Ragnarok here, looking to cut down the Sejuani, but Mordekaiser is the first top laner to arrive, but never mind the flash forward. Syntax looking to finish off these members. Olaf is going to be the first to fall, and Darius is going to help to clean up the fight. Soccer 25 on the run, but the wall from the Talia is going to cut off the Sejuani's escape path, and now Darius is going to bring back the axe to cut off a little bit more. It is going to be a 2-for-1 fight in favor of the Shattered Spire. They can go for the grubs afterwards as well.
Yeah, great trade there. And unfortunately, bot lane just nearly missing out on the double kill. The Rocket passing through and the Zap just going a little wide. Otherwise, I think that would have been a double there for Jinx. But TP coming out here.
Yeah, coming into the bot lane. This is going to be Sicko Ghost arriving. But the side of Boostus and Wander are able to spot that one out and back away in time. So at least Sicko Ghost can be able to pick up the minion wave down here. But this is going to be uncontested take on the second round of grubs. Going to be 6 grubs secured once again for Shattered Spire. Darius is going to be able to focus on that top tier 1. We do have Florigato moving over to try and defend. Meanwhile, the rest of AK Hearts taking the dragon in the southern part of the map. So Zeri does have to be a little bit careful up here, but is going to be able to clear out the minion wave.
Yeah, we got Cloud Drake coming up, and this will tell us if we are going to get.
Of course. It was never in
again.
doubt. Never in doubt, my friend. It's just a mountainy kind of day. That's just the vibes today.
An uphill climb, some would say. Vex in that
You could
mid
say.
lane.
You could say. Oh, the Shadow Surge is going to act once again. Okami sets it up. Regin is there too. Is this an execute? No way, right? Oh my god, the Poppy gets the execute. A little bit of insult on top of that injury. Wild.
The Yordle's just wreaking havoc back and forth here. Olaf, you can only run so far from your problems until the tower just handles it for you here. Grubs coming up again here shortly. We'll see Poppy already roaming up there. Zuri as well. We'll see if Moore decides to trade back now. It looks like both AD Carry and Topside are synchronizing backs here for that. But Poppy just roaming around. Sejuani will be there, I'm sure, within 30 seconds to hold her hand. And, I think Euro's just maybe stepped too far forward already. He's in his lane. He's underneath the tower. I think he needs to stand back. Maybe at the Nexus.
Under the tier 2, maybe? Oh,
safe.
you think underneath the Nexus turrets would maybe be safe for the Talia?
The first one doesn't help him. How's the second one going to help him? He needs a wall as well,
Yeah, so Boost this, flashes away from that last turret shot. Florigato should still have the damage to chase this one down. Zeri flashes forward, manages to take down the enemy AD carry, but now Eros has arrived. Is going to be able to take down the Zeri. It's actually Sona, the carry support Wanderer, getting the last hit on that one once again. So
Yeah,
1 for 1 in the bot lane. Both AD carries go down, but with a 6 grub buff, looks like they're going to be able to secure the first brick bonus for themselves for the side of Shattered Spire, just barely beating out Okami in that race for the first brick.
Yeah, back and forth there. Zuri picking up the 4-1 and 0 now, unfortunately getting killed on the back end. Static shift complete and a great boost, and also looking to pick up the Executioner's Calling to reduce a little bit of that healing that Sona is going to give the team, as well as for Darius here. So Rift Herald going down. We'll see if they end up plopping that here shortly. Maybe in the mid lane they have enough resources here to maybe commit.
Whoa.
No Vex ult connect.
Almost connecting there on Wanderer. Okami not quite able to find it this time around. Couple more minutes on our first Mountain Dragon. And with Herald in tow, I mean, this is suddenly looking pretty dangerous for Shattered Spire. I mean, AK Hearts, they've been playing the map decently well, and if they are able to utilize this Rift Herald to get themselves onto Mountain Soul Point once again, you know, it wasn't enough for them last game, but surely this time, right, Gitano? Surely this time, that will be enough map control.
A little bit of mishap, unfortunately, with communication there that really sealed their fate in game 2 here. So I think Okami learned the lesson, trying to figure out what is going on exactly as they're looking towards this mid lane. Sona running them out, you know, when you're 2-1-2 as Sona, you can chase down anyone you want without repercussions. Right?
Yeah, that's definitely how that works.
It's
Definitely
it's
how
like
that
a
works
Fed
for
a
sure.
Collie in season 3. You have to run away.
As, Wanderer actually going to be forced to back away here from Raijin and Florgato as they move in to try and secure some control in anticipation of this dragon spawning. Herald still in pocket for Soccer 25. So Juani just clearing out the wolves right now. We do have a wave crashing that Florgato is going to have to move over and tidy up.
Yeah, goal difference right now a little over 500 to 600 here for them as well. Top side, Darius not having the
1500 in the
TP.
bot lane. 4
Mordekaiser
kills for
having it.
Florgato. Oh, what was that? Sorry, Gitano?
Nope, Mordekaiser having the TP. Darius not having it. I'm just realizing
yeah.
the flash goes here. So, team fight wise, they could send Mordekaiser, sack the top side for that tower, and really put them at soul point here with that Rift Herald. But they are just bush baiting here.
Yeah, Raijin going to face check the Talia. Sidestep on the seismic shove, though. Keeps the Poppy safe for now. And Synthwave has moved all the way down here once again. Has been really good, you know, despite the lack of teleport. Does kind of realize that and is able to move down in time to join up with the rest of the team before the objective spawns. Here comes the teleport now from the Mordekaiser, but might not be in time to save the support. Raijin channels the Keeper's Verdict, does manage to yeet the Olaf away, but the Poppy will still be taken down by the Super Mega Death Rocket from Boostus. 5v4 on the map now for Shattered Spire. They are now the ones with control, but Sigil Ghost wants to do something about it. Flashes over the wall, puts Eros in the Death Realm. Might have been a bit over-aggressive, though. The Mordekaiser can't finish off the Talia, and now Synthwave gets in there, pulls back the Mordekaiser. 5v3 on the map now as Eros comes in with the Weavers while the Seismic Shove connects onto Okami, and it's going to be another team fight wipe. It's going to be the Shattered Spire absolutely cleaning house. They take the 4 for nothing. They will get their first dragon of the game and wrest control away from AK Hearts.
Yeah, Poppy just unfortunately spread away from the team, and that's kind of been the story here for the last 2 games. It was just one person splitting off from the team and getting kind of picked out in that sense. They utilized the Crescendo and the Ragnarok to take them out, and I was a little weary as Poppy did able to send Witch back into the jungle, but there wasn't anything from it. And Poppy...
Raijin, all alone, wanted to try and finish off Boostus. In comes Soccer 25, the inseparable pair trying to get the pick off the back of the objective, but it was a bit overzealous. The Shadow Surge not going to connect for Okami. The Sejuani going to be taken down, and Raijin has nowhere to go. The Poppy will be next. Last hit given over to Eros, who, you know what, deserves it. After all that focus in the early game, I like the fact, honestly, that they gave that kill over to the Talia.
I think Sona deserved it. You know, already carrying the game.
Right.
2-1-8.
The main carry, of course. Yeah, that's true.
Could be 8-1-2. Could be 10-1 at this point, truly. But you know, a team being maybe a little greedy, dare I say, not giving it to the Sona.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, I'm not on the team. I'm not making the calls. You know, I just get to hear and dictate what's going on. And there's my 2 cents. Feed the Sona next time. Like when you're watching the tape, you know, the VOD, make that the highlight.
I'm curious, do the cats agree with this analysis, Gitano? Are they also proponents of the Sona carry?
Since one of my cats is named after a support, Leona, 100%. 100% Leona is on this. Jinx, on the other hand, is not. She is very demanding and wanting kills. So my cats are actually split in this, which I get the deciding factor. Plus, I feed them, so I should have more to say.
I suppose. So you make sure that they both get fed, in other words.
Exactly.
The best support, Gitano. Very nice. But yeah, that is we'll see. Who is it going to be more fed as we move further into this game? It is about a 2.5K gold lead now in favor of the Shattered Spire. And being able to stop that dragon stacking, really, really huge for them as well. So they're in a pretty decent spot now.
Yeah, giving them a little bit of breathing room. Darius, so 3-0-2, I believe can really handle himself against the Mordekaiser. Already grabbing the Merc Treads as well as the Spectre's Cowl just to help out, and sitting on Negatron Cloak, also, or the Null Mantle, just in case for a little extra here. So they're going to have to be careful with this top side here, as Darius is going to keep pushing in and has great ward coverage as well in case someone does end up going up there. They're going to find something opposite side of the map, but these fights by Poppy, that last one really just kind of shook my head. And I'm like, all right, are you just looking to look here, or do we have something by you as TP was used to join the fight, but it just apparently did not account for anything. All
Racial
here from
Prison
Sedge.
connect, but I mean, no follow-up, really. I didn't really feel like there was a plan there. I mean, maybe they would have gone in if it connected up to more of a priority target as opposed to the Olaf, right? But just kind of tossing that one out, Sucker 25, and not really getting any value from it.
Yeah, just kind of tossing it out there, hoping something comes of it, but just not enough. A minute 30 here on the Dragon. That will be putting, Spire, hopefully they can grab another one here to reprieve that soul point pressure just a little more, even it up on 2-2. 22 minutes into this game. Goal difference little over that 3K mark here, as they are looking for Mordekaiser, but he's going to be able to get away.
Almost everybody closing in on that 2-item mark. We do have the lethality jinx coming in as well. So that is going to be a lot of damage if it doesn't manage to get some rockets connecting onto... Oh, that's going to be charged into the wall. Arrows in trouble once again. This is like a Death Rocket connects. The Ignite and the Mistral Bolt is going to be enough. So Kami and Raiden teaming up once again to take down the board to Leah. She left her Nexus turrets. That was her mistake.
Yeah. You might want to unplug your mic a little bit. It's a little robot-y. You might be cosplaying as Orion a little bit, and I appreciate it no more than anyone else, but for the casting calls here, we might have you unplug and plug once again here. That dual lane finding the difference here in the game and really making that impact, but Mordekaiser has to get away from Darius here as he's pressing that tower, picking up that, Rookern as well, just surprising amount of AP resist out of him and really causing a lot of damage too on top of it, just going with a stride breaker.
Whoa.
There is the dunk and the ghost.
Yeah. Am I still robot?
You're good now.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, that was another pick. Raiden just looking for these angles, right? But the Poppy kind of getting caught out as that Wanderer tries to flash right, but they do manage to take down the carry Sona for AK Hearts. That is pretty good news. Sakura now on the run as Synthwave moves in. The very scary Darius, like we just saw a moment ago, is going to join up with the rest of the squad as Raiden has respawned. Poppy making her way out of the base. And controlling the river currently held by AK Hearts. They've got that control ward in the Banana Brush. Dragon alive. Mistral Bolt, or the Shadow Surge rather, is going to connect on to boost us, but Vex not going to be willing to go into the whole enemy team to follow up on that one as they start to burn down the Dragon. And it looks like the Shattered Spire just can't get into the river. Super Mega Death Rocket, a good try, but just a bit premature. And that is now going to be Mountain Soul Point for AK Hearts.
Yeah, good job of just keeping the ground, making sure there was no entry point. Olaf, realizing that they didn't have it, kind of backed off, so good on them for that. And you have to throw out the Super Mega Death Rocket, just in case you make the highlight reel a little early, like you just stated. But still, 2, 3, and 8. Jinx being a very sizable force already. 150 bounty gold on the head, as well as Darius, that has increased to 400.
Yeah, would be a big influx of gold if the side of AK Hearts do manage to shut him down. Certainly easier said than done, though. Synthwave at level 14 now. Tied for highest level alongside Okami's Vex, who has also been having a pretty good game.
Yeah, having a great impact here. Baron up. I don't think we're going to see any early take here. As we saw in game 2, they kind of danced around that here, around the 20-minute mark. But I think now they're just going to have to respect a little bit more of that damage and pressure here. And we see towards the bot lane, mid laners are duking it out back and forth for pressure, both having TP up in case a fight does break out here. Um, what what do you see for both teams here? What is their entry point into these team fights, or what do they need to do to kind of grant themselves this edge?
I mean, I think we've been seeing a lot of the angle for AK Hearts already this game. It's these smaller skirmishes, I think, is what they have to go for. You know, it feels kind of bad because they do have the Zeri, who theoretically could do extremely well in a, you know, more of a 5v5 setting. But I think taking the rest of the compositions into account and taking what their opponents have drafted into account is just a little bit too hard to make the 5v5 really work in their favor. You know, I really like what you mentioned a moment ago, the fact that we saw that Baron dance starting pretty early outside of AK Hearts in the previous game. You know, looking back, I really feel like that's kind of where everything started to unravel, when they lost control around the Baron there and gave the Shattered Spire a lot of room to work with on the map. In the aftermath of that, I think they were able to get their first dragon and were able to stabilize from there. So I feel like AK Hearts, they're trying to be a little bit more patient this time around. They're not really looking to force anything. They're just patiently looking for these angles, waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah, I agree here. We'll see if that continues to be the trend here throughout, but a lot of topside action here. Darius keeps pushing in, and it looks like the rest of the team is ready to back them up, as they might be looking to do something you don't get to see here very often, and that's called diving the Mordekaiser.
Generally ill-advised, isn't it? But that Seismic Shove is going to connect. They chunk him down to about 50% before he can even put anybody in the Death Realm. It is going to be Synthwave's Darius who finds himself there, but Mordekaiser are not able to move forward to actually try and take down Synthwave. Another Seismic Shove connecting. Raijin off on the flank, does charge arrows into the wall with the heroic charge. The Fear connects as well to Leopard, the flash away. A massive apprehend. It's not enough, though, to take anyone down. Another Shadow Surge will connect. It's going to be AK Hearts winning out in the team fight. They've got 2, they've got 3. Winning out with the 3-for-1. They're going to gain control over the map, but the health bars too low to go for the objective afterwards.
Poppy, what a hero play. Splitting out 2 main focuses there and then really slamming against the wall, allowing the team to go in. And you just mentioned that apprehend pulling everyone in, but it's just not enough, and not enough stacks on everyone for the resets. And what a play. Gold now within 200 of each team here for Hearts and Spire. Olaf looking to clear out some vision on the dragon, or on the Baron pit here. Maybe Baron Dragon, maybe they're gonna mix to a hybrid here, but a little push up here.
Florigata moving forward. Boostless flashes away to try and create some space. That is going to be the Death's Grasp. Pulls Witch back in. Olaf still has the Ragnarok on cooldowns. He's going to have to burn the flash to try to get away. The heroic charge into the wall, though. Raijin not quite able to lock down the Barbarian long enough for the team to take him down. Pretty close call there. The mid lane Seismic Shove connects. They've taken down Okami. Oh, the mid laner a little bit separated from the team. Once again, they're absolutely massive pick for the Shattered Spire. And again, the timing is great for them as well. It's just before the dragon spawns. They should be able to deny the soul here.
Yeah, double pull towards you with Talia Darius, and just extinguishing Vex here before the fight even starts. I don't think there should be a contest here. Give it away. That's only number 2. You know, look for something across the map, maybe take a tower or something, but there is no need to step up in this jungle right now.
Ghost pop, the Synthwave flashes forward, gets the apprehend onto the Zeri, who just did not get to move at all. CC'd 100-0. Another pick for the Shattered Spire. Bonus on top of their second Mountain Dragon.
Yeah, and there's just enough time, too. They can go Dragon straight to Baron and really kind of pick this fight. We'll see if they want to back here quickly and maybe exchange some of the gold they are sitting on. You know, maybe it's not enough to complete, but ultimate here.
Off the escape path there. That's going to force the flash out from the Mordekaiser. A nice move there from Eros. Get another cooldown out of their opponents. And they still have 10 seconds before the Zeri even respawns. Going for the Baron might be a bit aggressive, though. Feels like it could be risky.
Mordekaiser backing, still having that TP.
Charging to the wall, but Raijin puts himself in range of the Darius. And the poor little Poppy's just going to get executed once again. Too many axes to get away from there. And now the 5v4 once again for Shattered Spire. Synthwave over the wall, pulls in Soccer 25. Sejuani is going to have to arctically retreat to get away from the hand of Noxus. And it looks like this Baron is going to go over. Soccer 25 does have the flash, but Synthwave doing a great job of playing bodyguard. Not going to allow the enemy jungler to get in there for the 50-50. And just like that, Katana, we've got a bit of a swing in favor of Shattered Spire. They're up 3K now.
Yeah, a big swing in their favor. Picking up the second dragon, looking, maybe to grant their own, soul here and a couple of dragons down the road. They're going to just start pushing this down here. And unfortunately, we see this time and time again from Hearts where they're going out there trying to make the play, but unfortunately getting picked out themselves here. And now with this Jinx growing ever more so big, Sona not getting as many kills as she should, but also making sure that the team is well and healthy when they are going in here. No objectives on the map with Baron. I expect them to start really putting the pressure on, and this Darius to start split pushing and really cause this push-pull method here where they have to answer with 2 to 3 almost for him. As we've seen the 1v1 with the Mordekaiser, Synthwave doing a great job of keeping Ghost in check the entire time. 5, 1, and 5. 3, almost 4 items in as well.
4-1 the formation right now for Shattered Spire. Have Darius off in the side lane like you were just talking about, Katano. He is going to be able to move that minion wave up. They're not quite synced at the moment, I don't think. The wave in mid has died out. And just as the wave in the bot lane is crashing here. So, side of AK Heart's going to be able to defend for now. Still about 90 seconds on the Baron buff as the next mid wave starts to come in.
Yeah, it looks like Vex is the answer to Darius. I'm liking that. There's enough room there. Talia trying to cut someone off is not going to find anyone. Kind of cuts off the own minions, but does get the tower for their efforts here. And they start rotating towards Darius in the bot lane.
Oh, whoa. That Shadow Surge getting blocked by Eros was pretty critical there, as almost Okami zeroing out Boostus over the wall. Vex not quite able to finish off the Jinx. And now all of these Shattered Spire members grouped up around their one cannon minion here in the bottom lane. That Mistral Bolt not quite enough range to start chipping away at it. And the Extendo Beam from the Zeri not quite going to find the mark either, as the cannon continues to do its work slowly but steadily. 30 more seconds on the Baron buff.
Yeah, tower going down, number 2 with this Baron. And a very, very low Jinx at the beginning of that, and now full health from the Sona. And this is why you feed into her. She keeps everyone happy and healthy. Top lane now, TP entering in, and an answer here from the Mordekaiser.
Shattered Spire playing this sequence out so patiently, just being so careful to not give their opponents any windows to go for a punish, particularly when they were split, right? When they had that 4-1 formation. But now, the tier 2 and top will fall, but Eros potentially in trouble here. He's going to flash away from the Poppy. The Seismic Shove is not going to connect, and now Raijin's flashing forward to continue the chase. Eros, though, is chunking down. The Mordekaiser Death's Grasp will connect the Obliterate as well, and now Eros trapped inside the Death Realm, but Sycophant is so low. The rocks continue to connect, and Eros is going to take down the Lord in his own Death Realm, and now Raijin burning down the Liandry's. The Poppy, it looks like, will barely survive. But an unfortunate 2-for-1 situation that should have been in favor of AK Hearts are not able to make it happen.
Yeah, it's one of those call an ambulance, but not for me, unfortunately here. Sona using the crescendo, Darius Ghost as well, trying to catch up here with their target. Not going to find it, but pushes everyone off enough for the Dragon call here, and that might be it unless Poppy and squad want to get in here super quickly, but Zeri is going to be able to take this very quickly and match Dragons up 3-3.
Absolutely right. Soul point now for both teams, and the triple Mountain Dragon as well. So much value, particularly for the Darius and the Olaf, who are already stacking up some of those resistances, right? The magic resist in particular to try to counteract Okami, who is still really strong in this game. Hero charge into the wall. Eros in trouble once again. Goes for the Seismic Shove to try and push him back. The Talia cannot escape. Gonna get picked off in the jungle once again and again. it is Soccer 25 and Raijin who made it happen.
Yeah, best friends. They're just going around finding someone. They grab a third here for that Zuri, being able to just say, "Hey, come with us. Maybe we'll grant you a little look or an assist if you're lucky here." But 1 minute on the Baron. Heroes will spawn in time for this as well. Art's having great vision around everything here. Sona going to be able to try to clean that up here. Everyone did back, and this next fight around the Baron Pit could spell the end of the game if, it is a clean ace or 2 to 3 at least, still survive afterwards and is able to push down the towers.
Yeah. Incredibly tense point in the game now. The gold lead is squarely in favor of Shattered Spire, and they do have the stronger team fighting composition as well, but AK Hearts have done such a great job of hanging in this one and continuing to find these picks even late into the game here. So now the potential collapse coming through as Raijin in trouble is going to get tagged by the crescendo from Sona. The Poppy cannot escape once again. Boost us on a rampage. And now the rest of the AK Hearts are going to have to try and retreat Synthwave, though, flashing forward and just completely destroys the Vex. Synthwave looking to end this game right here and right now. Gets the full bleed stacks onto Soccer 25 as well. Sejuani will be able to get back to the fountain and heal. But a 5v3 on the map, and it's going to be Shattered Spire falling back to the Baron.
Yeah, I think they're going to grab this here, no contention. And I think you just want to turtle this out. Give them the Baron, give them a tower, give it an inhib. Grant yourself a little bit of room. You still have Dragon Soul Point coming up, but there's no need to go forward here. I'm a little nervous for the Zuri. I don't think they're going to be able to jump on her right after the Baron, but she's got to be careful.
Yeah, true. Florgato, Zeri does have the ability to get away from a lot of situations that many other champions don't have the ability to get away from, so was relatively safe there and is going to be able to back off in time. But now another Baron secured for Shattered Spire. Let's see how patient they're going to be with this one. Last one, they were very content to just take those tier 2 turrets, not really pushing the issue, not taking more than what was given to them.
Yeah, I think at this point, you got the Dragon smashed up. You got 2 minutes for that. So if you do decide, right now they have Darks in top lane, which I'm really liking, making sure the Mordekaiser has to answer. If you can get 2 to 3 people up there, take Dragon Soul, a split push with the Baron as well. But Darius backing, I think they are trying to utilize this soul point for themselves, that they aren't pushing the wave as heavily as they could be.
Yeah, I mean, this is the safer line, right? Is to just use the Baron to control the map and just play for the Dragon Soul. It's kind of honestly what I was hoping to see from AK Hearts in the previous game, if you recall, but they were really, playing out a little bit more aggressively. And I think in a close match like this, in a game that, Shattered Spire were predicted to win and felt really confident that they could and should win, I think taking the safer line makes a lot of sense. You really just want to give yourself the best odds possible to close this one out nice and cleanly and pick up the win tonight in what was a much tougher match than I'm sure they were expecting.
Yeah, we see Vex and Poppy on the side just in case something does break out, but that tower is taking so much damage here.
Yeah, the tier 3 is going to go down. And that's going to be the flash away from Sicko Ghost. But the Ghost from Synthwave is going to close the distance. And Mordekaiser is going to get cut down where he stands. It's Vex trying to go in. One more desperate attempt from Okami to save the game. But it will not happen. Shattered Spire, it looks like they were going out 0-2 tonight. It looked like AK Hearts were going to pull off the upset. But at the last moment, the Shattered Spire will rise from the ashes. They will take the 2-1 victory tonight and a quadra kill for Boostus to close out the match.
What a way to end the night on the quadra. Jinx just sticking in the pocket, waiting for everything to happen, and at the very end, coming through and cleaning up these fights. Wow, what a game back and forth.
Really impressive stuff, honestly. Just to be able to stay in it and, stay focused in a long best of 3 like this, when you had such a difficult time, especially props to Arrows, right? Was focused so heavily every game. Raijin at Soccer 25 just constantly in the mid lane, looking to pick him off, looking to get Okami these massive leads. And look at the end here. Eros on the Talia, most damage in the game. Almost 39k. Really hung in there and did a lot of work for the team.
Yeah, throughout the entirety, as you just mentioned here, from start to finish, being the point of focus. Every time we see a Poppy, and Sejuani running around, they just said, "Oh, we see her on the map. We have to go for her." And Vex doing a really good job of just following up, making sure that when they had the opportunity, they capitalize on it. But Eros never giving up, sticking to his conviction, and making some really huge plays. Down the mid stretch of that last game here.
Yeah. And I do think we need to give some credit over to AK Hearts as well, right? They weren't quite able to make it happen in the end. It kind of all fell apart for them in these critical moments when it felt like they should have had the match, the 2-0 even in the bag. But sort of just a couple of moments really costing them tonight. I'm sure, they're going to be able to go back and look at the VOD and sort of identify what went wrong and hopefully come back stronger, I at least was kind of always expecting this to be somewhat of a close match, but a lot of people, the majority of people, it felt like were really predicting Shattered Spire to be somewhat dominant tonight and just be clearly the best team in this division. And AK Hearts really came in here, and I think are going to cause a lot of people to think twice about that sort of assessment of these teams and how they rank against one another, because they were really able to push the Spire tonight, so close to being able to get this win.
Yeah, Hearts just right on the verge of those last two games of kind of tilting the scales in their favor. So, as you just mentioned, great VOD reviews, making sure that they come together. But that early game, that symphony of we see, mid support and jungle being able to roam around and really wreak that havoc throughout the entirety. That is something a lot of teams are going to have to take note of and try to either, A, they want to try to duplicate it, or B, be prepared for it because it's going to be happening. I'm not sure what they can all do to stop them off of that. So, great job by the Hearts. There's no shame in this defeat. Really, really close games.
Absolutely right. Last order of business, I guess, tonight, Gitano, our Game 3 POG. It's obviously going to Wanderer's carry Sona performance, right?
I would like to, but I think I'm gonna have to give it to my wife. She allowed me to cast for her
Aw.
2-year anniversary instead of spending time with her as I should have. She was gracious enough to allow me to cast instead. So I'm gonna give the POG to her. Otherwise, Soda clearly has to take it here, from start to finish, being the carry. But Eros might have a card to play here. Constantly getting picked on the entire time and still coming out ahead on top and really making plays. But I mean, honestly, there's an argument to be made to almost every single individual on that team.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Darius too, just doing a great job of holding down the Mordekaiser, being an absolute nuisance. And we saw late game that 5, the bleed stack all the way to the dunk, and that was hard to watch. And Olaf just always being, a havoc wreaker in the back, 3, 2, and 14, not picking up the kills, but definitely doing, the back end of work of everything here. Jinx picking up the quad, Sona making sure everyone is healed and top up throughout the entirety of that match. We saw Jinx run very low when they're, cycling towards that bot side tower 2, and all of a sudden, within 20 seconds, back to full health here. So, there's a nomination for everyone on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Strong performances across the board from Shattered Spire tonight. They really struggled at first. AK Hearts kind of had their number in the first game and the start of the second, but it really was a team effort from Shattered Spire here to come back, get the win tonight, maintain their undefeated match score here, their match streak heading into week 5. Definitely, Eros and Synthwave both having pretty strong cases, I think, for POG in this one. Eros really hanging in there, doing a great job, and Synthwave so decisive on the Darius in a lot of those big moments. You don't usually think of Darius as an engaged champion, but Synthwave is really the one starting off a lot of those fights on the right foot for Shattered Spire. Personally, though, I am also happy to align with the Gitano's wife POG vote. Big shout outs there. Congratulations on your anniversary to you
Thank
both. And I think that's pretty much going to do it for us tonight. We do, of course, have the Plat League continuing tomorrow night. Well, that is going to be Subatomic Gaming Proton going up against Conduit Esports Revelation. But here in Emerald Week 4, that is going to do it for us. From myself, from Gaetano, from the entire team here at Blue Otter. Thank you, everybody, very much for watching. We will see you same time, same place next week as Season 12 continues. Good night.